Ladies and gentlemen, day 3 of the next 9th major for Counter-Strike Global Offensive. We're here in Cologne. It's actually quite sunny, and we're ready to be talking about some Counter-Strike. It's to our 3rd day, and this is where we once again wave goodbye to 4 teams and welcome another 4 into the Lanxess Arena starting Friday. I've said it before and I'll say it again, sold out arena. 14,000 fans are going to be watching Counter-Strike and roaring as they battle an edge ever closer to $1 million. I've got some friendly faces joining me. I've got myself, Thorin, Yanko, and Moses to do this pre-show to both, well, recap and also, you know, focus on what is coming up and what we have to look forward to today with 4 best of 3s. Gentlemen, the major so far. Duncan, you haven't managed to get thrown off and thrown out yet. How you doing, man?
Still time. We're not in the venue technically. We're on the outside part of the venue.
This doesn't count.
No fans here yet, but we'll see.
You feeling good? Feeling good about this best of 3s?
It's baby steps, Duncan. You've got 3 days. That's a good start.
I think my chances of making it to the Lanxess Arena are better than Flipside's. Let's just say that.
Yeah, sure. We'll be talking
Flipside's making it, of course.
In just a moment. Yanko, how you doing? Another dapper suit, I have to say.
Thank you, Alex. I'm doing great. Finally, we get out of the best of 1 hell,
sure,
so to speak. Right now, it's a best of 3s. So I think the favorites are going to be extremely pleased that we're switching now.
And Jason, we have got out of that best of 1L. Some crazy best of 1s yesterday.
Yeah, there were. We had a grand final yesterday as well. Nice BO1 grand final. That was cool. Yeah, and this is gonna be a cool day. I want to see Liquid, obviously, the last North American team in there.
Yeah, it gets an opportunity to fly that North American flag. Perhaps for the last time, of course, there are a couple of North American corpses on the eliminated pile already. We've already waved goodbye.
Corpses and bodies, you know.
I like to make it kind of dramatic, you know. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and think of a different way to phrase the 4 teams eliminated already. CLG Optic are on that pile. That's the last time I'll do it, Duncan. But let's have a quick look and reflect upon day 2 here for ESL 1.
It's going to be a nice clash if Gambit can get off on the right foot, and I think they need to here against a very strong opponent in Astralis.
Mo is cleaning up 3 quick kills.
Very solid performance by Gambit.
That's terrible for CLG.
There we go, headshot off the cutlass, down goes Kuster as well. There's a threat, Rapino making it look easy.
Flamey, great shots, takes them all down.
A truly testing time still to get to the playoffs.
Yali picking up 2 more headshots. Oh my god, he's wrecking Liquid. Quick shot, drops the bomb on Apex. Great shot from Chris. That's the triple kill.
Limb by limb, tearing apart faces. There's another one gone.
There's those headshots that he's talking about.
An agonizing defeat for G2 there, falling, well, perhaps to the 2 best teams attending the major. At least that's what the desk had to say yesterday. And unfortunately, gents, you have to relive it again today. If this is the first time casting your eyes upon the groups and casting your eyes upon the major, there was a group in particular that did look rather stacked. It was Group D, and fortunately, we are nearly out of the woods there, but we have already had to wave goodbye to G2. In fact, both French sides gone. We'll start with G2, though. Yanko, if you could perhaps just let everyone at home know just like why this seems like such a destroying defeat for the French side.
Because they've shown to be a top 3 team, in my opinion, in the last 2 months, so to speak. They've had a couple of really strong finishes. They won the ECS finals. They came second at Pro League, losing only to Luminosity. Then now the SK team, the best team in the world. So unfortunately, because of their performance at the previous major, they had to come into this one through the qualifiers, which in turn meant they had a lower seed, putting them in a group with two of the best teams in the world, probably Fnatic and SK.
Jason, that map in particular, we saw some highlights there. That game against Fnatic, if you could just get a little bit more specific regarding that one, because it's not like G2 were rolled over by the Swedes. That was an affair that was almost, well, it was a couple of inches away from the French taking it.
No, it actually showed great strengths from both teams, because on one hand, you know, and this is part of the reason why it's such a shame that G2's gone, because they had that great performance out of Scream, which we haven't often seen in a major. They had a great performance out of Smiths, which they just don't get that often. They had all the ingredients to take that match, but it's just like we said on the desk last night, they ran into Fnatic, who just pulls these miracles out of nowhere, pulls these magical, you know, rounds out of nowhere, so to speak, and that's exactly what happened. It's that Fnatic thing where everything was against them. They seemed like they were just about at the breaking point, and then all of a sudden it just turns around and it's a complete 180, and that's the fear of facing Fnatic.
Does it bother you, Duncan, when it's actually difficult to understand why it happens? Like Fnatic consistently kind of breaking the mold and making it very difficult to understand why things are happening?
Yeah, I mean, what makes it feel extra unfair if you're G2 is why were you even having to play Fnatic in the lower match game? Because Fnatic kind of didn't show up in that form against FaZe, lost there, and you're like, oh, great, well, they're not even on form, and then they just come in and you're like, why will you play like this against me, but not against them? You should be in the winners match. I'll be playing FaZe now, no problem, right? We go to the best of 3, but unfortunately, yeah, that's the scenario for Fnatic. They really are the only team that can sort of mess around a bit, get into trouble, and then somehow they always do that disappearing act to get out of trouble, and they're safe again. So I mean, you have to feel for G2, because I would think of it like this. They lost to the best team in the world and the tournament. Fair enough, that's probably supposed to happen. Then they lost to what's basically the best core of all time in Counter-Strike, and who are famous for these exact sort of matches. So you look at the way it broke down. Sure, G2 is so good, we can still look and say a few mistakes here, a few things could have gone differently, maybe should have banned this here. But you still have to look at it and go, yeah, what were you supposed to do, you know? I mean, you did about the best you could. I still think they did a pretty good performance, although they definitely did not embarrass themselves. They had double figures both maps, very close on the last map. So, unfortunately, it's just the circumstances were against them, you know?
Absolutely. And alongside them, another French side. Not for the first time that all French sides have been eliminated in the group stages, but we lost Envious as well. Yanko, it does seem like we're not hanging our heads in remorse so much for the loss of Envy. This is a team that we were perhaps, would you say expecting, or more likely to be eliminated in groups?
Well, I think more likely is fair to say, because that group is also close. As Group D is, Group C, I feel that every team could have beaten the other. In that group right now, we have VP going out in first place. I mean, moving forward to the playoffs. So with Envious, they've been struggling for a very long time. They've had that roster change when they brought in Devil for Kirishima. Then they started swapping in roles, putting in Devil as the in-game leader, which for me was the biggest surprise, because in that lineup, you have players who have won a major, have players who have won 2 majors, so a plethora of experience, and then you put the newest addition, the guy who hasn't really played ever at that high of a level of competition, and you choose him to be the one who's going to lead the whole team. To me, that just seems they were really struggling to find him a role where they could find some use for him, so to speak, and I think that it's clear that there needs to be some reinventing for Envious.
Duncan, you managed to control yourself after Kenny S looked a little... You started flashing back, turning back the time when you saw Kenny hitting a couple of those shots on train?
I mean, he was good in the game, certainly. Happy, you can see that pretty poor score overall. He seems like the guy who's the most disjointed guy. Like Devil, unfortunately, since he's been in the lineup, hasn't particularly been good. He's maybe had like 1 or 2 good games, so he's never integrated properly. I mean, he's sort of found something to do in as much as they looked a little bit better since he became the in-game leader. But ever since the era when Happy wasn't the in-game leader, he seemed like kind of like the odd man out, you know. He's not with the team, or he doesn't sync up well with them. The timings aren't there. And I have to say, I look at their team, and I still think when I look at the roster, there's no way this team should be able to go out in the group stage, especially they're not in like the G2 group. They're in one where it's like, listen, you're facing a brand new Liquid squad.
Liquid
VP's supposed to be slumping. Mouse Sports aren't a team, you know, they don't have the team comp. These should be all the ingredients for you to get out at this point in time. So I have to say, when you look at their team, they're a perfect example of what happens when you don't have that in-game leader, who knows the identity, how to use the players, maybe how to shift the role, because one of the problems pro players have is they might have an idea of how they think they should play the game, but maybe the outsider, the in-game leader, will be like, oh, you'd be much more effective here. And I know pro players who want that, you know. They definitely want someone to come in and tell them, no, put me in this spot, tell me this, I'll do whatever you say. If you leave it up to, like, if the inmates take over the asylum, you might end up with crazy results.
And that's exactly what we got. Yeah, I like that. I see what you did there. Alongside the last of the 2 French sides, we did wave goodbye to Optic and CLG. Perhaps a little more predictable. We will still be seeing Liquid, though, so it's not necessarily time to throw away the North American flag.
A few more jokes yet, Moses.
do have Jason alongside us. We're not going to be focusing too much on the CLG and Optic losses. Instead, we're going to spend our closing moments of this pre-show actually addressing the Astralis absence, just to make sure we do cover the bases here. And maybe you can just set the scene regarding Dupree's absence.
Yeah, Dupree, I mean, went to the hospital last night with some issues. He's going to end up not playing today, and just because of the rules of the tournament, Zonoc's going to have to step in, and if they happen to move on, if they win this BO3 against Dignitas, then he will have to play for the remainder of the tournament. Dupree cannot be subbed back in. I don't even know if he'd be capable of doing that, but
I don't think so.
Yeah, so I'm not even sure that even really matters. But now they have this BO3 against Dignitas where you have to look and say this is they've struggled against Dignitas at times, even at full strength, and now they also have Glaive playing for this event, not KRB, the new pickup for them. They also have Zonic stepping in, so essentially they have two ringers, one of which is their coach who hasn't actually played a competitive game. He played a couple at E-League just because they had travel issues, but outside of that, he hasn't really played at a competitive level for a long time. Yeah. And even mentioning coming in, he just tweeted last night that he has 0 hours played in the last 2 weeks. So
and no peripherals.
Confidence builder there.
Yeah, right. And yeah, he doesn't even have his gear here that he would need to play. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're able to do with that. He's going to have to be very much just a hard support, the style of support that we haven't seen for years, where it essentially is just make sure you use all your nades for your teammates and don't even get involved in the action until all your nades are gone, and hope someone just walks into your crosshair for an easy kill.
Absolutely.
So this is going to have to be, I mean, I know Duncan was setting the stage last night. This is going to have to be Device's game where he just establishes himself as how big of a star he is. It's going to need to be that Device hard carry that we haven't seen for some time.
And we get to talk more about that as it is our first game. We'll be talking about that best of 3 in just a moment. But first, we're going to have an opportunity to actually hear from the Astralis manager himself. You know Frederick well. You'll have seen his face around handing out free hoodies and other things. So let's go ahead and see what Peter had to say about free hoodies as he's standing by with Paul.
Frederick, just very quickly before you get into the game, we want to catch up and find out how Dupree is. Yesterday we had the sad news that he's unfortunately got an appendix infection, has had an operation. How is he?
He's feeling well, actually. He got out of surgery this morning and is feeling better. So he'll stay at the hospital the next couple of days to recover, but he's good.
Okay, good. That's good news. It's more important than anything else right now. Yeah, absolutely. In terms of the CS, you've got Danny standing in. We know he's a bit of a legend, but he hasn't played for a while. He's going to be a bit rusty. So is the goal changed for you guys now? Is it just to try and get through this this game and get into the top 8?
I mean, coming into the major, our goal was top 8. Playing with Glaive as a stand-in, and now we have Sonic stepping in instead of Dupree. So, I mean, the goal is now we really just hope for top 8, because, to be honest, 2 stand-ins playing against Dignitas, we shouldn't be able to win that match. But there's always hope, and we hope we can, well, secure a win for Dupree and KRB at home. So,
well, good luck today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Paul, and of course, Frederick. We get to hear a little bit, well, firstly, sigh of relief. Peter is okay, however, won't be able to compete. And the question is now just going to be, yo, Zonic, how retro do you want to go with this Counter-Strike performance? We get to see more from him after our break. But now we do actually we keep talking about, hinting about these best of 3s. 4 best of 3s today, and we'll put them up on your screens just to quickly put into perspective what you have to look forward to. Like I said already, 4 teams are going to be getting into the playoffs, and another 4 are going to be going home to join, not the pile anymore, Duncan, to join the other teams, the eliminated teams. I'll get away from the death metaphor.
To join the French, Alex.
Join the French. We'll be having a look at it in just that moment. But
French and the Americans in the loser's circle.
Let's forget about Astralis Dig. We'll be talking about that in a moment. But the other, I mean, all of these, I like the rematch phase Fnatic. That was your game to watch, Duncan, yesterday in the closing show. Can you maybe highlight a little bit as to why? Why would I look forward to that if I'm a newer viewer?
Well, first of all, it's a rematch that we already had of the first game that Fnatic played, where they were upset by FaZe. And FaZe looked better on many accounts in that game. Fnatic tried to pull some of their crazy miracles to even get back into it, were unsuccessfully able to. So FaZe is going to come in. Everyone counted them out. Everyone said they would be in 4th place. Now they have a chance to eliminate one of the all-time great teams and take that legend status, which probably would have been theirs in many other groups. So, meanwhile, on the Fnatic end of the equation, as you saw in the G2 game yesterday, it doesn't matter the odds. It doesn't matter who they're facing. This team, they almost have that maniacal belief that they actually are supposed to win again. And so I think they actually think they're going to win this best of 3 as well. So I think it'll be a pretty kind of fiery, explosive game with a lot of drama, hopefully.
And finally from you, Yanko, we talked about the last North American hope alongside Mouse. That was your game to watch yesterday. Maybe you can do the same that Duncan did there.
Yeah, definitely, because it's kind of a question mark there with Liquid playing with a stand-in. Obviously, a lot of firepower on the team, and they're super confident coming into this tournament. On the other hand, you have the Mouse team, who has shown signs of brilliance at times, beating the G2 lineup 16-1 at the major qualifiers. But they always, at times, seem to stumble, you know, something just like if someone throws a spanner in the works there. But today, it's going to be a question whether they can actually show up when it really matters and acquire that legend status. us at the major.
That's what it is all a battle for. 4 teams already secured it. Alongside that, you have the likes of Gambit, Virtus Pro, and then the bigger names, more like Na'Vi and SK, who we are expecting to see progress through the tournament. We're going to be taking a break now, and when we do come back, fortunately, you get an opportunity to see more about Dupree. We have a profile from him. We get to hear a little bit from Peter about his apprehensions heading into the major, and it's going to be nice to see that. For now, though, we take a break. When we do come back, we'll be talking about Astralis Dignitas. If Dignitas can't beat Astralis with 2 stand-ins, it really could be death's door for the Danes. We'll be back in a bit.
Get your team apparel now at shop.eslgaming.com.
My father has always been a role model for me. We talk about business, we talk about the more serious parts of life. He has a hell of a lot of experience, and he's always trying to make it the best possible situation for me.
Peter has a very big heart. He loves his family, his friends, and he has a lot of empathy for the people around him.
Efter folkeskolen, altså når han havde fri, der spillede han jo Counter-Strike. Og Peter har meget tidligt sagt, at det her det er noget, han gerne vil gå efter og leve, hvis han overhovedet kan.
Det er ligesom om, at Counter-Strike det er en del af hans DNA. Der havde han næsen inde i computeren.
Peter was very competitive as a child, towards me at least. I was always teasing him, and he was teasing me back.
Me and my brother has always been really close. Even though he's only like my half-brother, I've always seen him as my full-blood brother. Whenever we're together, we're like kids again. We still goof around, we still joke with each other, we fight sometimes for fun.
Peter is very emotional when it comes to the things that matters to him. He's been through some tough things in his life.
In 2010, my dad was diagnosed with aggressive chest cancer.
He was crying. He felt powerless. We all did. When something like that happens, you look at the life differently.
It's basically become the dark year of our family. The year that we don't really want to think about because everything just went to hell. My dad went in and out of the hospital. My mom had to quit work.
Peter var meget påvirket af det, fordi hans mor også gik ned med stress i samme periode.
I started dropping grades in school because I didn't care anymore. I felt like I was starting to lose my family. My mom got really worried about me. I started to see people to talk to. I isolated myself within my room with my computer. The reason why I did so was because there I had Counter-Strike.
Han brugte godt nok Counter-Strike som sin trygge base.
That was where I could laugh with people. That's where people didn't know about all the shit happening in my life. And that's what also kept my mom going in these really dark times. She could hear that I was laughing and having fun, and she really enjoyed that. That's why she didn't interfere all the time.
It was a good thing that he had the game to focus on and keep his mind straight.
Despite 2010 being a really tough year, we came out on top. My dad got into treatment. My mom got back to work. And I got better grades and I finished school. Even though he still has cancer, he still is ill. It's really positive to see my dad is doing well. I used Counter-Strike as a positive energy, a place to gain new friends and gain new motivation. Copenhagen Wolves was somewhat my first professional team where we got the first salary. And then we slowly emerged from that team, built a new one, and we got into Team Dignitas, which was basically where everything started for us. And then we slowly emerged into becoming Team Solomed. In 2015, our manager gave us an offer that we could actually start our own business. The good thing about this is that we know everything that's going on. We're co-owners, that means we also get to take part in the decisions. When we're out making interviews or doing sponsor deals, it's our own little baby we take care of. It's our brand and something we have started.
He didn't just get the opportunity like out of nowhere. He worked very hard to get it.
Starting Astralis was something that motivated a lot of other people to follow in our footsteps. And I think that is going to be the future of esports. A very important aspect of me being a professional gamer is I try to reflect my personality in Dupree. Whenever I'm out doing interviews or whatever, I do goofy stuff. People think, what the hell is he doing? Well, that's just how I am.
Tænke på alt det, der er sket i mellemtiden, og nu står han her som en voksen mand, der har skabt sig en karriere. Det gør mig bare stolt som mor.
Vi er rigtig stolte på Peters vegne. Han er kommet rigtig langt i Counter-Strike.
Even if Peter is the best of the best in the world, he will always be my little brother. That's never gonna change.
Representing Denmark means a lot for me personally, but also for the team. We have something to prove for ourselves, but also for our fans. So obviously there's a pressure from that part, but it's a pressure that drives us to perform. It's gonna be one hell of a road, and I hope we will win it.
Peter there, unfortunately unable to participate between Astralis and Dignitas in our opening game of day 3 here at ESL 1 Cologne. Thoughts go out to Peter, and he's going to be watching from the sidelines. He's never missed the playoffs and has attended every major, so that's certainly going to be salt in the wound for him, of course, of unavailable due to injury. Great video there, just to see a little bit of another side to Dupree that you wouldn't have otherwise been aware of. I've got myself some friendly faces once again on the desk to talk this one. You might want to bring your microphone down, Jason, so we can hear you. Beautiful. Now, let's have a quick look at where this could possibly go. Let's have a look at that top 8, because the draw has just happened. There was a kind of lots of flipping of coins and all of the other such ilk, and now we can see exactly how it does play out. Virtus.pro versus the Group A2. We have SK, Na'Vi, and Gambit. Looking good. Gentlemen, do you want to walk us through this one? Janko's laughing, so we'll start with him.
That's, of course, NIP. I mean, the Group B2 team, which is presumably going to be NIP, gets the best team in the world, gets to play against SK and Gambit, who did a great job of making it out of the groups and gaining legend status. Well, unfortunately, we'll have to play the winner of the second place team of Group D, which is going to be either FaZe or most likely Fnatic.
Yeah, so it's going to be some tough opening tests. I mean, Na'Vi Nip as well, that's going to be a blockbuster. Assuming, of course, Nip Flip goes the way we're assuming. So I did there. Nip Flip, that's a thing, because it's flip side Nip.
Do you flip your nips?
On, like, probably the second Wednesday of every month.
Dangerous grounds, boys. Dangerous grounds.
Donations coming in now.
Anyway, we've got ourselves Astralis Dignitas. This is our next game to talk about. We'll talk, of course, about Group A to see how we got here. This is the first of our 4 groups. You can see why we got into this situation in the first place. And it was down to the aforementioned Gambit, Janko. You said they did well to get out, but a 16-6 result. Let's reflect upon that before we start addressing Astralis Dig. Like, they wouldn't even be in this scenario had they not conceded that loss.
Yeah, it was an extremely dominant win from Gambit. Obviously, they had a good start, winning both pistols, and to me, it seemed that Astralis was maybe a bit complacent in the beginning of the game, and that you know, came back to haunt them afterwards, because even though they stringed a couple of rounds together, it was some clutch rounds from the Gambit guys, and especially Adren had an amazing game throughout. So yeah, the big upset for sure.
And Jason, it's a rematch. It's a rematch that we've seen. We saw in a best of 1 already. I know it was a while ago, but do you remember that one well?
Not super well, to be honest with you, but just the 2 teams that play each other, Astralis and Dignitas, you know, we always talk about the interregional matchups. No matter how well you're doing against your opponents outside of that, when you get 2 teams from the same region playing each other, it's always a little bit more of a brawl, just because they tend to know each other more. And also, this is a team that Astralis has struggled with, but the big storyline, obviously, is, you know, Astralis had just removed Cajun B. They traded him to Dignitas. They got KRB, who they can't use here at the major. But for Cajun B, this is a big, like, revenge. This is a grudge match. This is like, okay, this is like the second time you've got me from the team. And now this is his chance to, like, kind of prove to them that this was a mistake, that he was actually more valuable to that team than maybe they even thought.
So much roster mayhem, and I mean, we can introduce the starting roster, Duncan, what we started with for Astralis, but this is just going to be your opportunity to put into perspective just how far they've come from what they should have started with at this major. I mean, we started with, I'll let you introduce the faces that are about to be on screen.
Sure. So, obviously, the 3 best players in the team are Device on the very left, Dupree in the middle, who's the guy who's missing now due to the appendicitis, and he's going to have the manager Zonic standing in. And the other player we normally say is the best player on the team is KRB, and he's the guy who couldn't play at this tournament because he already took part in the qualification process with Dignitas. So essentially, they've lost 2 of their best 3 players, 2 of the stars of the team. So while you have got people like Zipnix as a support player, we often hail him as one of the best. He, at times, has been a very well-rounded player. You don't expect so much of the firepower from him in that particular respect. Carrigan, okay, in 1.6 he had a time when he was a star player. He's been very much just more the brain in the game in this sense, and actually he's been fairly weak individually the last sort of 6 to 9 months. Then you go over to obviously the new guy, Glaive, who's just the stand-in. Interestingly enough, he's someone who himself was known as an in-game leader early in CSGO, has transitioned to being more of a fragger. Like, he was already decent enough fragger, but brand new to the team. And because he's only a stand-in for this event, it's not like you bring him in the same way that you do when it's going to be a permanent lineup. Because when you do that, sometimes you're willing to sort of like keep playing him up, knowing in the future you'll develop it. This sort of a lineup, you have to really it has to be like a here and now thing. Like, okay, what can we take stock of? What maps can we actually play on? What can you play on? What spots can you play? And that's actually an interesting thing. I heard that. They told Glaive, you're just going to go right into all of Kirby's spots. You don't even get a choice on the spots you pick. So the problem with that is, though, that makes a sort of sense when you've still got Device and Dupree and Zipnix. Because at that point in time, you've still got 3 really good players. They all want their spots. in-game leader plays the probably supportive spots anyway that people don't want. At that point in time, it makes sense to put Clave in that position. Problem now is, does that mean Zonic just goes into Dupree spots? Because I can tell you right now, Zonic cannot do what Dupree does.
Right.
Dupree is a very good entry fragger, and if you want to talk about one of the big issues where you said he'd been in the playoffs of every major, Device and Dupree are the only players that in the major era have been in this lineup as Zipnix has as well. They're the only three who've been in every single one of these iterations.
Sure.
So Device and Dupree very much set the style of this team and have always been there. So even if other people were coming in and out, you could all rely upon that. So the problem is that Zonic can't really just fill in what Dupree does. So to actually win this game, you have to sort of reinvent the team on the spot.
Yanko, I mean, we're being reminded of his past. It has been a long time since we saw Zonic delivering in CSGO.
I mean, what Astralis is in CSGO for Denmark, that's what Zonic's team was in 1.6, the member of the storied MTW lineup, best team in the world in 2008. I believe it was, and I think in that sense, he's not as bad for a stand-in because he's an experienced player. He knows the fundamentals of Counter-Strike. Obviously, the mechanics and the aim are what's going to be an issue for him, but he's not, you know, going to make silly decisions, and he's always going to be there and probably knows how to support other players really well. But it has to be up to the players like Device, Kerrigan, and probably Zipex to be the ones who are going to carry the load here for Astralis.
It's easy to get distracted and forget to talk about Dignitas, but I mean, I think it's safe to say you know that roster. We know, that they've actually got 5. They've had opportunities to prepare for this with that 5, and that's why we, of course, spending most of our time talking about the Danish faces of Astralis. This is them, though. MSL Config, Rubino, Cajun B, and Tensky. And now, back to your point, Duncan. You said just at the start of your opening paragraph about maps. Let's just start that discussion now. I mean, if you're Astralis, you've got 2 stand-ins for heaven's sake. Do we start leaning towards what we call like puggy maps? I'll open this to the desk as well. I can see you're thinking as well, Jason. But where do you take it?
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Because they've already played a puggy map. They played Dust 2 against Gambit, who's not a strong Dust 2 team, by the way, and they lost reasonably convincing fashion. So I already feel like that's scary enough. I still think you probably have to consider a map like that and leave it out there. But the other big issue they have is that I think, for me, the crux of this whole scenario is what they're going to do about the normal Cobblestone ban. Because if you let Cobblestone through, as you've already seen, Dignitas' best map, they were fantastic on it themselves in this tournament against CLG. Normally, Astralis would ban it, but if you do so, we know that Nuke is a map that Dignitas has been threatening everyone with. So this is a different pick ban phase, remember. We're in best of 3s now. You get 1 ban, and then the other team gets to pick. So you can only ban out the 1 map. If you let them do that, are they actually going to pick Nuke directly against you? And now you've got a player who hasn't even played CSGO, basically?
I feel that Astralis needs to take some sort of a risk in the map veto. I don't think they can just go and veto Nuke because Dignitas will straight go into that Cobble pick, and that's, I think, a sure win for them. Probably even with the Astralis not having to field Zonic instead of Dupree. So I feel they need to take a gamble, vetoing Cobble, and maybe Dignitas gets baited in a sense that, okay, they're playing with 2 stand-ins. Maybe we don't need to pick Nuke. It's still maybe a bit of a random map. Astralis in the old iteration of Nuke, it was one of their best maps. So maybe they get baited into picking something like Cash, where Astralis has a higher chance of winning.
Okay.
I mean, I agree. Cobble needs to get taken out. The big thing is, well, with Astralis, well, it is their big-time ban. I know they've been working on it since KRB came into the lineup, but even just talking to, Device, when I speak with him, he says the entire reason that they feel comfortable starting to learn Cobble is because KRB coming from Dignitas, where it's one of their strongest maps, he has a lot of insight that Astralis, since they don't really like to play it, they haven't looked at it in the way that KRB can bring some of the knowledge on how to play that map into the team. So especially without him, I think they don't touch that map, and knowing that it's so strong for Dignitas, I think this is a little bit scary for Dignitas as well, because with the 2 stand-ins, with the 2 replacements, it's naturally just going to have to be more puggy, more freewheeling. This is something that Astralis could come out, and no matter how much Dignitas has played or looked into them, I think there's going to be a lot of differences in the playstyle here, because you have to let that individual skill shine.
Here's the interesting thing, though. Because Dignitas has banned Train, it's almost certain, I think, that, again, we see a rematch of the first game between the 2, and the actual pick is going to be Overpass for Astralis. That's the map that it makes the most logical sense to. They banned Nuke, so actually we could very well see Overpass, Cobblestone, first 2 max here. If I had a dream 3rd map in that scenario, I would definitely choose Mirage. Like, that's the map that both reasonably like. So there we go, we've got the Cobblestone pick there for them.
Wasn't Mirage a big map for Dignitas at one point?
Yeah, I mean, they've all, it was up there, certainly in their map pool. It was one of the better ones for them. It's one that they could certainly get wins on. Unfortunately, they were also an Inferno team that got taken out of the mix. So actually, interestingly, Astralis picks Mirage, maybe thinking in that sense, like, okay, but I mean, the interesting part about that is that they haven't got the Overpass, which recently with KRB was the best map by far for them. And admittedly, it was a close game when the 2 played before. That was with the...
And key phrase with KRB.
Yeah, and with Dupree, they got the slight win on Overpass, so maybe they were scared away by that and they want to just push it to Mirage. But I actually think Cash coming out as the third map goes in the favor of Dignitas. I think that's good for them, actually. I think Dignitas is going to be liking this map pool, actually. It's nothing really to be scared about here.
I think they're gonna be liking any map that, like, series of maps that popped up, and know that, especially with 2 stand-ins. I mean, that's the thing. I think they're not even worrying necessarily about the maps too much. They're just saying this is the best opportunity we've had to make it out of this group stage. We have too big of an advantage to let it go. Dignitas has been getting better and better as a team, even being able to challenge and be competitive with the Astralis when they have their full lineup. So I mean, regardless of the map pool, obviously there's ones they just don't want to play, but whatever came up here, they're going to be saying we have an advantage just because of the new lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be a chaotic ride for Astralis, there's no doubt about it, but there is still that puggy nature. It does feel like the desk is kind of apprehensive. You did, however, sound very convicted with the first map. So rather, you said it with conviction. You said Cobblestone was going to be going an easy walk in the park.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I thought, actually, if you're Astralis, you have to ban that one. That's one of the only maps in the pool where I feel like you have to be scared, because even though you haven't played Nuke, yeah, they haven't played it that much either, so maybe you can be okay in it.
Your prediction, then?
I'm actually still going to go with Astralis. I think for the first map, I'll say Dignitas will win Cobblestone.
Okay, expecting that reverse sweep then from Astralis. A little sneak peek into Duncan's predictions. How about you, Janko?
Dignitas Cobble.
Dignitas Cobble, and you said the same already.
Yeah, I have Dignitas taking Cobble.
All right, so this is the first map of a best of 3. It is going to be an all-Danish affair, and we're going to be taking a quick break. When we come back, the game starts. It will be Henry and Sadakis casting this one. It is going to be a true test for Dignitas. If they can't beat these guys, they certainly don't deserve to be in the playoffs. See you soon.
At the start of 2016, all eyes were definitely on Dignitas. They had a great start to Pro League. They looked like the team that from the back end of the top 10 would slip toward the top 5. After failing to qualify for the major at MLG Columbus, that kind of changed things. They've had 2 roster changes since then, one of which wasn't their fault. Kirby got poached, they got Cajun B back, but this finally is their best chance to go through. Kind of handed them in a way that perhaps isn't anyone's ideal.
Definitely not ideal. This is a horrible situation. You feel like Astralis can't get a break right now. Everything they turn up to, it seems like there's something that goes horribly wrong. When they do well in the groups, their counterparts just fall apart and they actually have a horrible run to the actual playoffs. But today is a very special occasion. The fact that we're missing Dupree as well, one of their star players. Shout out to Peter. We love you. Great personality in the scene. Hope he's getting better. But this is a massive loss for them going into this one. The veto's not gone well as well. Obviously, they had to choose between Nuke and Cobble. Cobble, I just don't see them winning this one, especially when they don't have Peter there to actually have that star performance, a big fragging power. Sonic coming in, he's speculated he hasn't actually played, within 3 weeks since he actually appeared at E-League. So this is a problem they've had. Like, remember at that E-League thing, it was Carrigan that couldn't turn up. Now they're missing Dupree, which I think is even a tougher loss.
And not to mention Glaive also.
Yeah,
and now Glaive's been fragging well. He's been adapting well. They've been pleased with his performance. But it's one thing to change one player.
Yep.
Okay, it's easy. I wouldn't say easy. It's still difficult, but it's easy enough to slot in one player if you have to. You know, the timings, flashes, that kind of stuff change.
2 weeks to actually go over everything right.
Exactly. So they could implement that. Bringing Zonic and Cole and already having to make adjustments. This is the toughest challenge ever. I mean, we talked about NIP in Columbus having to just retain their legendary status. That had to be the goal with Threatin. That has to be the goal now for Astralis. Just get through this best of 3. Anything else is gravy.
The thing is, though, when they had Glaive, that was the only objective they had, right? That was all they had to do, was just get to the legendary status. Now it gets a little bit harder. We are going to keep kicking things off on Cobble here. Looks like we're ready to get into the game as well. And we'll be Astralis starting on the CT side. Dignitas, of course, on the Ts. They've got 3 sets of armor, 2 smokes, a couple of flashbangs to work with as well. And like I said, I really do favor Dignitas. I think, in my opinion, they've got one of the most fundamental T sides in the world. They're very good at understanding the map, working the control, and they're going very fastly towards drop down. Config opening things up.
And it's Glaive that goes down first. Cajun B, he'll be the one to enter against his former team. It's Zippix that's trying to slow them down. Device does pick up 2. This bodes well for them. He's still a chicken coop, but they're slowly pushing on him. Gets the reload in time, but can't get the kill onto Cajun. It's Kerrigan that found Config in the meantime, though, that leaves it 2 versus 2, and Cajun planting bomb. Covered off by MSL does mean they have to go for the defuse. Good shot by Kerrigan to start it. Zippix has the kit. Cajun trapped behind the statue, but they don't exactly know where he is. That'll give it up, as Zippix spots no armor, can't afford the repeat just yet. Kerrigan to clutch it down. Defuse to come in.
It's a good start. Astralis. It's going to be Kerrigan this time, getting 3 kills. A very fast play from Dignitas towards the B side, sorry. Going towards drop down. Actually got the entry kill as well by Kerrigan. Coming in for a nice cleanup there. Zonic does drop straight away. Hasn't found that confidence just yet. But the bomb did get planted for Dignitas. So that does mean the 3rd round you'd anticipate. That's when the AKs come out. Actually, Matt, it's a change of pace. They might do the force buy of the AKs this round. So they can afford 1 AK. There it is. And I guess maybe a Galil as well. That could happen. You can see Config still has money available. I think they go, okay, 4 Tech 9s, 1 AK-47. So this is the force buy. We've seen this a lot recently in CSGO meta. It was a big tactic at 1.6 in source. Like obviously the AK was $200 cheaper. You didn't need Molotovs. It was a lot more viable back then. It still is a strong option here. If you get kills in that pistol round, you can bring it and surprise the CTs. They've actually forced up there themselves. They've got 4 rifles to work with. Well, 3 rifles and 2 UMPs, which can be very strong weapons as well. It's going to be Rubino walking towards our platform and trying to find that first pick.
Rubino, quick Molotov off to Chicken Coop just to clear the position. Smoke gap. But a flash comes out, they can't see through it towards Statue. Tech 9's getting closer. Good wall of smoke setup with this utility. They can get an easy bomb plant out of this. They're going to do so right now. And Cajun B starting off on Glaive. This is a very, very good situation for Dignitas to put themselves in. An additional Molotov dropped in the alley means they can't push around the tree, and Config can spray into it. He knows they have to be waiting in there somewhere. It's Rubino to take Zonic, who once again goes down early. As Zippix, he's going to fall as well. He only had 18 HP. It's down to just Kerrigan, 1 versus 3. So Dignitas with good execution, and Kerrigan just goes for the save, gets caught running.
Yeah, you can see how much it means to them as well. They went for the risk and the force buy in the 2nd round. It works out perfectly for them. They're very good at having these set-piece executions as well. Works out very nicely. The bomb goes down and they find that first frag.
And you said how much it means to them, but also the yelling. I have to think that this is part of a mental game, because they already know Astralis is inside their own heads. They already know the pressure's on them. The situation isn't great. The more they can tilt them, the more volatile they are, the more they take advantage of that. So I think that's something we're going to have to watch. I think Dignitas is going to try at every opportunity to get under their skin.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Lots of shouting here. Dignitas obviously looking to get that playoff. This is a perfect opportunity here. It was a bit of a mixed bag going into it, best of 3. But now against Zonic, that chance has definitely have been lifted. It's going to be Astralis with the semi-force buy. You can see Zonic, interesting enough. He's got the Mag 7. And Glaive and Device with the upgraded pistols and armor as well. They have a smoke and a couple of flashbangs, but it's not the same sort of buy we saw from the Ts. They had a lot to work with there. Obviously, the Tech 9's very powerful, especially when you have the smokes to work with as well. First couple of frags coming in for Dig there. It's going to be Zonic and Kerrigan dropping 5 on 3 at this point. Don't really need to do too much. Wait for the CT to react. They've actually taken Device down to 12 HP as well. So this round is pretty much over.
Rubino just going to wait out, see if Device gets impatient. If you're Zonic, Henry, I mean, you've played a lot of CS over the years. Fortunately for you, you were a starter. But if you're Zonic coming into this situation, what's the approach? What's the mental game? Like, just not to try too hard, keep it simple?
You're not going aggressive. You're not trying to do those dynamic peaks. You're just playing the support role, right? You're just playing in the back of the side. You're aiming for 1 kill a round. That's all you need to do. Whether you have to hide in the corner and make it look like you're being very passive, you haven't got the aim right now. You haven't really got the game sense. You haven't been playing for 3 weeks, and you weren't even a player before then. He just needs to be going for that 1 kill. Just enough, gives good information to his teammates. Kind of chip in with the calls as well, so I think that's what he needs to be aiming for here. It's such a difficult situation. Being dropped in here, he didn't expect it. He woke up this morning reading, wow, I've got to play on the international stage right now. Obviously with Threat, it was a little bit of a different story. He was actually a pro CSGO player. Zonic is a legend in 1.6, but he's never actually played CSGO. So Threat had that experience. He knows how the game mechanics work. He knows how you can adjust with that, the Molotovs and different spray patterns and stuff. Zonic's going to be struggling here today. He had an okay performance at E-League. He found himself doing exactly what I described, getting 1 kill. That was what he was good for. He was doing an okay job, but so far 0 for 3, and we have got a pause coming in. I assume this is technical to say, to be crazy for a tactical pause. But yes, it's the fact he hasn't got a kill yet. He needs that confidence. Once he gets rolling, gets a couple on the board, crossfires on the sides, very basic setups, and we'll see how that works out for him. It's currently 2-1 in favor of Dignitas here. This will be the full eco for Astralis. force buy. Well, it was a semi-force buy. They didn't really go all in. Didn't really work out for them. So Dignitas know they can actually slow things down here, run a few more defaults, and that's what they're so good at on this map. They actually are so good at getting the mid control, taking the CTs away from long A, and at that point, it's very difficult to get information. It's not one like a map you Dust 2. When you lose one part of the map, you can easily push towards B tunnels. That doesn't happen. You can't push up a platform. You can't boost in the drop down. That's very high risk maneuvers. So at this point, Dignitas, I just can't see them actually not getting to double figures here on the T side. I think they might actually completely trounce them. I'm maybe saying 12 rounds on the T side. I think that's a real possibility.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's a scary thought. And again, it's an unfortunate situation. I mentioned Dignitas going to be taking advantage of it. Not to say, I just want to go back to that just to clarify, not to say they're bad sports. It's just part of the strategy. It's a major. You've got to do what you want to do to win.
Yeah.
Even I was speaking to Cajun B this morning. Even he knows the situation. He said, you know, obviously they want to win. They're going to try and do their best to win. They should win. All odds point to their favor, but even they know the situation, and being their countrymen, he felt bad for Dupree and Astralis as well.
It'll be a slightly hollow victory in that sense, but you're absolutely right. This means so much, and they want to get to that top 8. They need that legendary status. It's a new team with Cajun B coming in. They want to have those good stepping stones going forward, a good platform to work with, knowing they've guaranteed themselves the next major as well. That'll be a great confidence boost going forward. So, like I said, full eco this time for us.
Just to clarify, you know, I offered to make it fair to say if Dignitas, if they needed to stand in, I would play, but for some reason they said no. I still can't figure that out.
I can't imagine why, you know? Well, they saw your performance against me in the 1v1.
That's why I'm surprised they didn't pick me up. You know, like I said, it would have made it fair.
Yeah.
MSL going to go back in toward danger. Zonic, he's going to be the one to fall down. Does get a little bit of damage toward MSL. Not much, to be fair, but gets information to the 3 other players at long A that can try and swarm and cut off MSL. But good smoke on him means the boost. Well, all right, that works. Xyp9x through the smoke. I was going to say the boost will be rendered useless. However, Xyp9x just goes chasing, gets a Mac 10 for his troubles. They can fall back and play a little bit more passively inside of the site. In fact, they're going to read this, that this pick likely means they'll go toward B without information, and a quick rotation comes in.
It's not actually a big deal. We normally describe that reconnaissance player who can go into these situations by himself, work out there's a stack towards a particular bomb site. He goes in and dies, just gives him the Mac 10. It's not the end of the world. You can see there's no real troubles here. They go to the B site, and the CTs are rotating in. Device has found a kill on towards Cajun, but now he's given his position away. He shouldn't get too much more out of this. Xyp9x, okay, that's actually pretty interesting. Now, 1 versus 1, but Tensky does get the final kill. So a lot closer than I anticipated. I thought once they got to the B side and found a couple of frags, that was it, but Xyp9x definitely made it interesting. Finds 3, and they have a decent amount of cash now. What's interesting about Astralis right now as well, they're changing the roles almost every single event. They can't really decide who's the AWPer right now, but at the moment, it's Karrigan. The Device wants to go back on the rifles and have a little bit more freedom with his play. Karrigan will be picking up the AWP, but so has Cajun.
Well, to further your point, remember when they did have Cajun, they had Device T side up, CT side was Karrigan and Cajun B. Cajun B kind of never really fit in a definitive role either. Now on Dignitas, he's got the AWP up, so it is interesting to see how that all panned out for these two teams with this roster changes. Cajun B, there it is, takes down Karrigan, perhaps suggesting that he should have been the AWPer all along.
When we were talking about this game in the green room before us, we were kind of saying, how could Astralis win this game? They need players like Device to be stepping out, going more aggressive, going and using his star power to get those first kills. That has to happen here. That first pick, Karrigan, he's got the same mentality. You know, I need to find a pick for my team. We can't just sit back and allow a full execution to come from Dignitas. Unfortunately, he gets taken down. Zonic's been battered to 17 HP as well. This round is not looking good. As I said, Cobblestone's not one of those maps you can really react. Blave's trying to do something here, but the traces through the smoke, that's never going to work out for you, Matt. You know as well as I do, they go right through that smoke, down to Silence M4, and they're ticking down pretty easily there.
Config staring. Drop boost corner, make sure no one's going to pop up. MSL 4 HP will play more passive in this situation. Tensky's with the bomb and going back over toward A with his teammates as we see it. Xyp9x Device slowly leading off in that direction as well, though, as all the violence on the B site has gone quiet. So they're trying to get the upper hand. They're trying to get earlier rotations, which is something that Dignitas can perhaps get a read on as this game goes on.
If you look at the utility left of the T's, they've got plenty of smokes, flashbangs. CTs have no kits, no flashes, nothing. It's going to have to come down to raw firepower here, and they're really up against the ropes. This round should almost be guaranteed to the T's.
And Zonic's 17 HP. Yeah. Watches stables when they get closer, but Rubino's able to walk in. Miscue as no one watching that position, and Zonic left in the open. But again, it's Xyp9x. He's got this down to what was a 1 versus 4 to a 1 versus 3, and Tensky's low, but watching is the AWP on Cajun. Spots the headshot. Xyp9x again giving himself a chance. Bomb gonna get planted by Tensky. He knows he's behind the hut, does Xyp9x, but doesn't know exactly where. And he's waiting for it to present himself, but smart play. Tensky's not gonna peek it, and he has to go hunting. Config able to take him down.
And they did what they could. Astralis there, like I said, going for that first pick. As Karrigan to drop first, Cajun B just waiting in the top of the middle. Such a stronger position there. There's so many rocks and angles you can actually hold if an aggressive AWPer does come in. It's one of those picks you go for maybe once or twice around, twice a half. He goes in straight away with the first buy. Doesn't work out for him, and now it's going to be an eco. going towards Astralis. It will be 5-1 at this point, and this is setting up, as I described before, it's going to be potentially almost guaranteed to be double figures for Dignitas on the T side. This is one of their favorite maps. Difficult veto process for Astralis. Obviously, when you get one veto before the picks come in, they had to get rid of Nuke. That's just such a hard map to approach. Even the top teams are struggling with that still. They don't really know how to approach that T side. You can see with the last game we casted it, right? Like, mid-game, they were showing each other how to do smokes. It's not a map you can approach with in this kind of scenario. So going into this one, PT-50s, HE grenades on the CT. They've got 3 of them. That's for the airstrike. They were taking those towards B. You can see them actually with them in their hand right now. So they're hoping that wall of smoke comes in and Dignitas is like the execute play, drop some HEs in. It probably won't get a kill, but it'll do a ton of damage and make the pistols a little bit more viable. But this is a full-on default right now. This is how you should be playing your anti-ecos. Ladies and gentlemen, hold up. You don't need to run in towards B. You don't need to rush anything. You've got a huge advantage of the firepower. Use the time. See if you can maybe sacrifice one player to go and find the picks with some flashbangs or smokes. Work out as a stack, then you stay together and go the other direction. That's the plan, but that's the first HE working out. Rubino goes down to 54 HP.
Meanwhile, the bomb is going back over toward A. As you say, slow place so far. Rubino waiting a drop just to try and get some attention, hold the CTs in place. So far working out because Kerrigan's alone on the A side, and with the smoke glaives not rotating, Xyp9x is there to try and set across. Guess what? Bomb. Well, there you go. Okay, all right, Kerrigan. Good peek. Takes the first headshot. I was going to say, there you go. A site given up. Bomb re-grabbed immediately, though, on the trade kill from Tensky, and Cajun's just waiting for the cross, gets the information, not the shot with the Tech 9, but they know Glaive's behind the truck, and he's getting absolutely swarmed out. Good play from him, good aggressive play, because Config's still trying to wrap around to find him, and as he does that, Glaive gets 2. That gives Zonic a chance. He takes down Config, and it's just Rubino left, as Zonic picks up his first kill. Again, like you said, he doesn't have to do much, just the 1 or 2 here and there, and the information gathered, it's Rubino that's now against him, and Zonic gets aggressive, he clutches it out as well.
He's starting to come alive. A big round there, and Zonic performing. It was a difficult situation. They only had the P250s. Kerrigan opened things up towards long A, and I was saying it looked like a perfect round for Dignitas at that point. They had the map control, sticking together, but players overextending a little bit there. Couldn't really trade. They went towards the A bomb site and didn't really smoke off before they actually went towards the side. I'm not sure what they had remaining, but they Molotov towards balcony. It was nothing towards that connector area. So Zonic stepping up massively. That's actually his first 2 frags into this game, and potentially some of the most important. That's got Astralis right back into this one. So they now have a nice healthy buy after that eco win. Kerrigan back on the AWP. 5 AKs for Dignitas. This is when you'll see that slow default play. Surely just going towards that A site and working the map control. But right now they've got 5 players towards B halls. Maybe they're going straight back in with that set piece, who knows. But if they were to win this round, it's another hard reset. But Astralis winning the eco, they shouldn't be as affected as they were before.
Device to try and get up close in the smoke, but Rubino's going to jump through it, spray down. Everyone gets away from that, stay alive, and it's opportunity for Device to find the kill instead, changing his angle, and Zonic's going to start off again by taking Cajun. He's traded out by the Flames, but again, it's the 1 kill information gathered, and they're able to clean them up on the B entrance. It's back to a 1-point game, 4-3, 2 in a row for Astralis. They avoid the 4-round reset. And on top of that, they've narrowed down the economy of Team Dignitas.
Yeah, actually a pretty clean round from Astralis. Straight up B rush 7 dig. I didn't expect that. Like I said, they're very good at slowing the map down and working out what's going on. They went for a faster play this time. Decent flashbangs went over. Rubino definitely had an opportunity to spray a couple down. Just couldn't land the shots there. And Zonic, like I said, just needs to find 1 kill around. That's what he did. Got some damage in, took 1 of them down, stayed alive. And that's bought Astralis some time to breathe here. They've actually got some economy to work with, and they've got Dignitas down to a pretty much full eco here. 1 Deagle, 1 P250, and looks like a 5-man attack towards long A.
This could be okay. Kerrigan's going to fall away from it. That nade, yeah, it was massive. MSL, no armor, down to 20 HP. Kerrigan picks him apart. AWP stays close. Flash misses, though. Good pickup from Glaive. Good rotation because Kerrigan's sitting in the open. He's going to stay alive long enough, and Zonic's going to close it out. Another kill for him. He's starting to get rolling. This will build the confidence for him. 4 kills now for him total, and 4 rounds now for Astralis total, interestingly enough. So tie game and money to come back out, but 10K built up on Device. This is massive. This is exactly what they need to try and make a half out of this.
Lots of money available, that's for sure. Just going to be rolling with that single AWP setup, as we say before. Cobble's one of those maps, if you brought the double AWP setup on CT, it's high risk, doesn't really work out too well in my opinion. So they'll be sticking with Kerrigan for now. Hasn't really been going for those aggressive first picks, hasn't worked out too well for him. I think if he just sticks to that turret mentality, listening to the calls from his teammates, trying to find that first kill at the start of the round, that's absolutely fine. But it's going to be 5 AKs for Dignitas. This is what I'm used to seeing. You'll see a smoke going towards that mid-connector momentarily, and then they go for the map control. They'll be smoked out for now, that's not a problem. Look at the damage for the door for both teams, in fact. MSL goes under 5, and Device gets the same treatment, but comes off a little better. He goes under 20 HP. But this is the standard default we expect to see from Dignitas. They're so good at working this map. But the thing is, this is the derby game. 2 Danish teams going at it. They know exactly how Dignitas play. So they're using their utility wisely and holding them off for now.
So Zonic that time, you saw it pre-ready with the smoke, was just looking for the information, dropped it as soon as the flash came over and retreats back. They've pulled Glaive over to the site. So Device started at mid. We saw the spray through, going to 20 HP. He doesn't want to sit in a vulnerable position. He wants to get back over toward B where his aim becomes the game, and he's going to play it from the new stairwell added to the B platform. On the AWP as well. So they swap it due to the HP. So all due to that early damage. Can't find the shot as they try and peek in through B. He relocates again behind Statue, not a sprayable position. Again, that 20 HP the factor in his positioning choice. As Kerrigan at the Rock is going to have to play this out, but it's Glaive instead with 2. It gives information. Kerrigan falls back. Not sure if they're going to go to the windowsill, but thankfully Zonic's able to watch that. He just has to anchor that position down and let them focus inside of the site. Device and Xyp9x, they'll do exactly that.
Nice speed hold there. Like I said, Astralis almost funneling them towards B. They wasted so much time dropping their smokes at the perfect opportunities there. They know Dignitas like to go for that mid control, just locking them out for as long as possible. They read it. Nice play towards B. They drop the incendiary just as they're coming in as well, just slows them down even further. And Xyp9x and Glaive doing some serious work there. What's quite nice as well is Kerrigan was baiting Xyp9x in almost. He was actually towards that new steps area. Xyp9x is just below him. The idea is as soon as Kerrigan fires a shot, to be tunnel vision trying to take him down as he's rotating, but Xyp9x is there to clean them up. 5-4, and Astralis take the lead. Who would have thought? It's definitely a T-sided map, and they're making a very convincing case for themselves there as we go into another Dignitas eco. Desert Eagles, Tech-9s, couple of flashbangs. Doesn't really have the same power as we saw in the second run. He needed smokes and Molotovs to actually make a real go at it. But they will be going straight towards middle, but this passive hold from Astralis should be pretty easy to hold off.
Xyp9x, good kill on MSL. They mentioned it on the desk.
Yeah.
According to Thorin, Dupree, Kerrigan going down on A does open things up, but Bomb's not over there. According to the desk, it's Dupree, Device, and now Kierby that are the top 3. But for a while, there was people saying Xyp9x, in his resurgence in form in these first stages of this year, was the best player on this team. He's the one that, without those 2 in the lineup, has to step up. So far, he's done it. He leads the way right now with 13 as he finds another one onto Tensky here, and it's just Config that's left in a 1 versus 4.
Yeah, Xyp9x is one of those players who's so good at clutching. That's why you have him anchoring the sides by himself. Always good for 1 or 2, can hold positions by himself, but you want his clutch potential to come into the game. He's very good, very intelligent when he's working those situations. He normally wins most of the clutches. Just Config remaining now. They know exactly where he is. There's no chance in winning this round, although makes things interesting, I was about to say, but that's all he'll get out of it. A couple of kills. Dignitas didn't really invest too much into that round, so that's not a big deal. Didn't get the bomb planted, but they have got cash going into this one. I assume the orb maybe come out on occasion B once again. He can afford it if he does so wish, which he does. So the orb comes out, and we'll see how this one works out for them. 6-4 now for Astralis.
Zonic, one of the things as well, being the coach, definitely has an idea of what the team should be doing overall. You can see him being very vocal there when they had the team on camera. So, interesting decision. You've pointed at something, Henry. You mentioned that you don't necessarily love the double up setup, and with the situation of this roster right now.
It's okay. It worked for a couple of rounds. The problem is as soon as the Ts know you're doing it, that's when they go for a very set-piece mentality. They just lock you out of the smokes, but that works very nicely. I said someone had to step up here, had that killer instinct to go for those first picks. That's a difficult angle to face as well. Cajun B wasn't expecting it. Kerrigan opening things up 5-on-4. That's exactly what they need. Now they can fall back. The hard work has been done and allow the Ts to make the next move. That's kind of locked down the Ts before they've even begun. They have got some danger control and towards middle, but with this man advantage now, this puts CTs in a great position.
So Kerrigan looking for the fast shot toward long, has Zonic beside him to support if that shot is unsuccessful and has to retreat with the AWP. On top of that, Glaive close by as well, watching bottom of middle. Dignitas still committing onto this A side. A minute left to work with. So a 3-man play on A, which is Astralis have done now twice. It's not common, but they've had good reads when they've done so. Flash through. Glaive has to go through the smoke to protect himself because he's fully blind. He's actually successfully gone by them. And Kerrigan, Xyp9x, they find the kills. Glaive can easily walk back in, get the backstab, and Rubino goes down at Xyp9x instead. But smart play from Glaive just to stay alive and all that.
Yeah, like he said, that was really the only option at that point. He drops the smoke, and that's the moment Dignitas decided to go through. He just walks in, gets behind them, but you thought he was going to be the one getting all the kills after he getting himself in that sort of position, but it's Xyp9x firing on all cylinders right now. He finds 3 more kills, been great in the previous round. He's on 17 for 5 right now, Matt. After 11 rounds, that's nutty. That's really, really cool to see. I think this is going to be the tactical timeout now, and you can see Astralis celebrating that. They know they've kind of broken the morale a little bit. Dignitas weren't expecting it. They wanted to walk in the park. They're going up against 2 standards, one of which hasn't even played the game. And they're actually struggling right now. So
you're dead right, celebrating that. They know the mental game. That's huge. Because as much as Dignitas think, okay, walk in the park, we can get in their heads, if it all falls apart, this is one of those moments where, you know, the backlash of losing to 2 stand-ins is like, that's going to weigh inside their head. Like, this can't be happening.
Especially if this is the map that they thought was guaranteed. I actually spoke to the guys outside before the game. I was like, well, obviously, he'd be trying to play Nuke or Cobble here, and that's like a guaranteed win. I said, yeah, obviously, we know the first map's going to be our victory. If it's Cobble, that's it. That gives us a good starting base, and we can work from there. The pressure's on them. If they lose Cobble, and especially in the current situation, that's going to be a huge mental block going forward. They're going to be wondering what in God's name has happened to them. And right now, it's Zipex. He seems to be completely wrecking them everywhere. 17 and 5, just getting multiple kills in every direction. Carrigan's finding those AWP kills now. And like we said, Zonic is 4 for 6. That's enough right now. He always says he'll find 1 kill every now and then when they're attacking him, and that's fine. And he's stepping up to that. And he actually won them one of the most important rounds. That eco buy with the P250s, he was the one that actually gets the clutch in. So that's actually pretty cool from him. He actually got them back into this game. They might not get the most frags, but that's one of the most pivotal moments of this half. So yeah, Astralis got to be feeling pretty confident right now. That double AWP setup still working out for them. We'll have a look at the terrorist money as well. So it's currently set at about maybe 4.2k average, and they will be buying. KSMB going straight in with UMP, in fact. Yeah. That's a very viable weapon on the CT side. Terrorist, not so much. It means you're kind of confined to just going towards down, drop down, maybe long A, those tight angles. But it's definitely not as strong as the AWP, but hasn't really done too much of it so far.
The big indicative factor to me is the fact that he's gone for it to pull out a Molotov as well as a smoke. And with 5 smokes, 2 Molotovs, I expect this to be a full B wall of smoke.
That worked so well for them in the second round. I think you're probably absolutely right there. They've had the pause now. But if I'm Astralis, I'm throwing a spanner in the works myself. I'm going for that first pick. I'm sending Carrigan to the B platform. If they want to do a step piece, you just need to kill 1 person. And that tactic's already weakened. Device on the AWP as well. He's the more aggressive and dynamic AWPer. So maybe him's going to be taking on that role. He's very, very good at getting those first picks. We knew he's the one that has to step up there.
And they had the 2 best possible spawns for those ops. Device had the fastest spawn to B platform, Kerrigan had the fastest to A. So they'll get information early. Here it is, the lineup, fast in, smoke out, 1 on stairwell. Device can't use that. He's got to go in behind the statue, but good counter nades as Zonic and Device take down Rubino before they can even set the piece. Now the smokes come in, they're 1 light. And this could be a huge factor. They have to prioritize the smokes. Thankfully, they go for all 3 across, not the one on the doorway instead. It does allow the entry to the front of the site for Astralis, but Device is on the right side of the smokes. Tensky, good kill. That'll allow the entrance for Bomb. It's Tensky that has it, and MSL, he's come down drop. This could foil everything because now Zipex is divided. His attention turned backwards, and MSL just has to sit there and be a factor. Good smoke. Zipex gets away from it. He's still alive, but taken by Tensky. And Sonic, he can spoil everything still from Chicken Coop. Kerrigan just needs to keep the aggro onto him, and they're going to spray it down. Does he go for the peek right away? He has to. The nade comes in, and it's all onto Kerrigan. 1 versus 2. AWP flash out, get to the rock potentially to save himself, and their counter boost. No plant out of this just yet. They still have the bomb in Tensky's hands, but they're out of utility to try and cross cleanly. But Kerrigan getting close up. They're going to pass each other. Who's going to see the other first? Tensky holding the plant. There it is. Config finds it.
I think Config just saw his head. He was boosting up, so he knew to look beneath him there. But that was a very tense round indeed. We thought Zonic in the back of Chicken Coop. It's one of those positions you would assume is always checked. But if there's enough aggro coming from Connector and people rotating in, that can actually work out for you. But this time, Dignitas, they saw it coming, got the grenades in there. Zonic couldn't really do too much about it, but they got that initial couple of kills as Device and Zonic, they got the kills with the HE grenades, and then the AWP kill comes in as well. But Dignitas, like we said, they're very good at these set pieces. Once they actually started trading frags and got themselves in a clutch position, they've got themselves back in this game. But the money is just not a problem for Astralis right now. Tons of cash, and that kind of evidence to show you, Matt, that the double AWP setup can be locked down in those situations when the AWP has to rotate in, but doesn't seem to be stopping him this time. Carrigan goes towards danger. He takes down Config, but MSO answers back quickly, and they're going to be going for a fast A approach here. Glaive doing what he can.
Tensky takes him back, though, immediately. So rotation time for Astralis. Zipex gets there in time to cross over to the site. That's huge, because he can try and slow them, and they don't have an easy, safe plant out of this. They do still have 3 members looming large. All AKs, no utility, and Zipex again is going to step up. 2 kills for him. He'll fall to Cajun, but there's the flank from Device. These 2 players, they had to come up big. 19 kills for Zipex in 13 rounds.
That's so sick from Zipex. Just time and time again, he's just performing in these big situations as well. This time, a fast play from Dignitas. Carrigan got the opening pick. That's good. He gets one for one trade is fine, because he can cut the call over. He needs to start rotating now. They're going fast A right here, right now, and it's Zipex on that base side, ready to go. Gets 2 down, actually headshots the last player as well. Dignitas, that's a full reset for them, Matt. They're actually going to get $1,400 into this round after winning the previous one. A loss bonus has to accumulate. And they haven't had the chance to do that. They're going for a force buy here. It's a bit risky, but they want to do the same treatment towards Astralis and see what they can do. But 4 pistols and AK, maybe a faster tactic here, but Glaive opens things up, takes on MSL. He can fall back. That 5 and 4 situation once again, working out very nicely for the CTs.
Device going to play aggressively toward the Archer zone. Molotov extinguished by smoke, just overthrown slightly. Tried to place it so that if they push through aggressively, they take damage on the way, but it's going to be 8 that they attack, and aggressively so. Kerrigan here with an AWP flashed out. They're getting close. He's got a hit nail. The shot at cannons can't do it, but pistol, no refrag. KJMB's late to it. He turns back to find Zipex. It's only one. Good response by him in the end, but a missed shot did allow this to be 1 kill against them that should not have been. Zonic there to clean it up in the end, and 6 kills for him, just to keep an eye on that. Again, doesn't have to do much in this, especially with Zipex playing the way he is. It's now 9-5.
Yeah, they're finding these opening picks. This time it's towards drop down, and that was the force buy from Dignitas. They went all in that moment, means round number 15. It's been quite a quick half here. They don't have much money at all. It's 1 UMP, 4 pistols once again, and this is Astralis getting double figures. This is not the way I saw it going about. I called it was going to be like 12 rounds there with Dignitas when they won that second round force buy. That looked like it was it. The window of opportunity was shut for Astralis after they lost that second round, but this has been a very different affair. It's Zipex. Their star players are stepping up. It's not necessarily Device. It's actually the guy we rely on clutches who's finding all the frags. Kerrigan once again gets the opening pick. Looking to get a second. He nails it as well. Can't hit the third just yet. He's surely going to be taken down, but the no-scope. And it's going to be round over. What a round from Kerrigan that was. 4 kills.
So sick with the AWP. Well, we said individual performance would be a factor if Astralis were to make a case of this game. We've seen it large and in charge. Kerrigan there, Zipex throughout, and Device playing consistent. It's Dignitas suddenly on the back foot. We'll take a short break, come back in the second half, and Dignitas, man, oh man, the mental game starts to reverse itself onto them. Welcome back. Halftime number 2, game number 1, best of 3, the cider match, a Danish derby. And it's so far going the way no one would have expected with 2 stand-ins for Astralis. It went to 4-1 for Dignitas after an eco win on round 2. We thought, all right, the writing's on the wall, but man, oh man, did Zipex ever turn it on.
Absolutely. It seems like Dignitas just went full tilt at some point. Their cores are normally a very composed team, working the defaults, getting that control of middle, like I said. But Astralis, they had a counter for that. If they weren't knocking them out of the smokes, they were actually getting Kerrigan to get those first picks consistently as well. He's new to the AWP, taking that role away from Device, and that's pretty sick. Zipex, right now, 156 ADR, 20 kills in the first half. That's insane.
That's a kill and a half every round, essentially, in damage.
That's so sick.
That's such a contribution. Like, unbelievable stuff. And what an important time to do so. 10-5, the score for Astralis. Start out now with them swapping over to the T-side attack. And we'll see if Dignitas have anything to pull this back again. This is their map choice, the one everyone thought, all the analysts thought, we thought would surely go the way of Team Dignitas, and Astralis would have to dig deep to pull the series back. Right now, they're sitting comfortably, I have to say.
I have no idea what's going on. This is insanity. Astralis, they've come out to fight today. They're doing this for Dupree. I'm sure he's watching at home, cheering them on, but it's going to be 4 sets of armor for Astralis. Kerrigan, 1 smoke, 2 flashbangs. Quite a simple play coming in potentially. And we'll be going into a pretty solid default. They can see Zipex boosted up. He'll be looking for any sort of Dignitas players, trying to get a bit of vision here, and that's actually a very difficult boost to counter. Tensky, a little bit more aggressive. That's the advantage of the USP, of course, seeing if he can get anything out of this one. Doesn't spot anyone for now, and that's normally the indicative of a B-sided attack. And he's by himself, so they can justify 4 players towards B for now.
Glaive out toward the courtyard still.
Interesting as well, MSL, they haven't got a kit. He's gone for the 5-7 smoke combination. That smoke's already gone. So if the bomb does go down, it's more difficult to clutch here, but the 5-7 obviously had 20 bullets, very good at spraying compared to the USP, so he's looking to do damage in that manner. Smoke's on hand for Carrigan. Looks like this B-side attack will be coming in.
And he's
towards Connect.
He's in a position as well to get baited in. Oh, Glaive just reads it. Bye-bye. Thanks so much, Rubino. I don't care that you're there. I'll take the low HP and the 5-7 for that matter. I haven't elected to grab it just yet. But Glaive taking full advantage is going to create the opening. Carrigan with 2 more. Remember, in the first pistol, he had 3 to pull it back for Astralis. This time he's up to 2. It's all on Tensky. 17 HP and with bomb planted. As you mentioned, no kits. This is going to be 11 for Astralis. And pending an eco this time, could very well be 12 to 13 before Dignitas get back into it.
Pretty nice stuff there from Astralis, only dropping 1 player as well. See what they were going for there, waiting for the default, seeing the CTs were hunting for intel in any sort of manner. That 1 smoke, like I said, straight towards connector, that really makes the rotations difficult at that point. It wasn't a huge factor in this sense because they only had 1 player towards A, but it's going towards drop down, sticking together, and the CTs couldn't really do anything about it. We saw yesterday Rubino completely lighting up that B bomb side with the USP. Same position this time, couldn't land the shots, gets 1 kill, but Astralis locked him down with a nice B split going in there, and they win the pistol. It's not going to be the force buy from Dignitas. They have got 5 Desert Eagles, but they haven't gone for armor or any sort of utility. So a little bit more conservative. You can see Astralis, so they're ready for this. They're not risking anything. 4 AKs, 1 reconnaissance player in the form of Zonic. That's great. The guy can't really aim right now, hasn't got his own gear at this event. Let's just send him in with a Mac 10 and he can do some work like that. Gets down config, and he gets $600 worth of trouble as well. So at this point, once again, slow things right down. See if they're going to push anywhere else.
So well done to start it off. As you mentioned, $600 on that kill as well. Those of you who aren't aware, the SMGs, all except the P90, award 600 per kill, so that's why they're so efficient in these early rounds. They can really build up the bank. Interestingly enough, though, they've gone for 4 AKs on this T side to start it off. Carrigan takes MSL, bottom of danger.
What's so great about the Mac 10 in this scenario as well, it's chews apart unarmored players, and the force play hasn't come from Dignitas, so Zonic can do a ton of work here. You can see how much damage that does with a few bullets through the smoke to finish him off. Why not? Takes down Rubino, and it's going to be 2 players remaining for Dignitas, and he's actually getting a bit of confidence now. Those kills certainly help when you're getting back into the game. It's going to be Tensky remaining. He's in towards Connector with the Desert Eagle in hand, smoked out for now. He's just looking to get 1 kill, pay off half the depth for his Desert Eagle, and he gets it. Takes down device, but I'm pretty sure that's all he'll get. Oh, he'll get 3. What is this?
Tensky just gets 3 huge kills, knows the bomb's on B. He's picked up an AK. 2 of them lovely, 1 of them gifted. Carrigan and Glaive have to sit and wait for this. And Tensky, he knows his chances, well, he may have already extended himself, aren't likely without the kit, so he's just going to save this AK. And moving forward, that's going to be big for the next round. It also forces out 2 rebuys of AKs. So thankfully, Zonic's built up a bank with that SMG because this is going to cost Astralis dearly.
To be fair, there was no real reason for Astralis to go for that kill. Just to reiterate, there was no force buy from Dignitas. I know they're unarmored. You're not really gaining anything from even killing him. You get your $300 or $600 as Zonic got it. But the fact they've given away 3 weapons, that dented their economy. There was nothing to gain. It's not like he had a rifle already. Now they've given him 3 kills, boosted his money, and he's taking an AK to the next round. It could be taken off just about. Can Glaive find it? Yes, he can. Okay, so it's recovered, but still, costs them dearly. It will be the full EK from Dignitas, so they can bounce back. It's not so detrimental now. That AK could have been dangerous in the right hands, but Dignitas, they will be just on maybe PT-50s, a couple of 8G grenades that we saw from Astralis. But this is looking to be 13-5, and it's a T-sided map, Matt. Let me remind you of that. This is looking very promising for Astralis at the moment.
Yep, very, very promising. I mean, this is a brilliant start. Has to be a complete and full save for Dignitas in this round if they want any chance of a decent buy in the next, including utility, that is, of course. There's Rubino, Tensky, config, Cajun B, all over on the B site. Device already clear of the smoke and on the platform trying to find an entrance. He's going to get it as well with the MP7. It's Cajun, his former teammate he'll take down. But Tensky's trying to actually lurk a little bit closer here. Go undetected, can't land the shot though with the USP, and that allows Device 1 more. As 2 kills for him now to start it off. MSL can't even go for a flank. Glaive's been watching this from courtyard, and they can comfortably rotate back his direction.
At this point, they found the first 2 kills. They've established his USPs. Not really much work to do at this point. Stick together. You can see Device. He's got the MP7 looking to farm some cash by himself towards that upper platform area. He's already found 2 kills. So he's absolutely fine. It's going to be Carrigan taking down MSL. Round over. And once again, they don't need to hunt at all. They know they've got nothing. There's no justification of looking for these players. Let them come to you. They have to stick together, make sure you keep all 5 players alive, start building that economy, and set ourselves up for a really successful second half here. It will be 13-5. Carrigan finished things off. And the money, it should be okay with Dignitas. Like I said, they didn't force up in that second round, so they will have utility and AWP potential as well. I think that's gone in the hands of Cajun. Yes, there it is. And you can see it's a little bit stronger than what we're used to on these first gun rounds. There's a lot of teams at CT especially will get the armor, the 5.7s, and try and come back in that manner, but with this much work to do, they need to have the firepower from the get-go.
So Cajun, Kerrigan, AWP aside. And a 3-2 split for the CTs with Rubino. Quick flash to drop, Config and Cajun with the AWP, as mentioned, is going to play passively, in fact, out toward the statue, so they won't be able to shut down Device, who continues to go aggressive on entry. Meanwhile, watch Kerrigan. He's already down drop. He's already going to get in behind them. He's got the AWP out, but Rubino's read it. He heard him coming. That could have been a huge kill. That could have completely spoiled the plans of the CTs, but now it's a two-man advantage, and Glaive found but saved by Zonic. It pulls it back slightly. That's a huge overextension, I have to say, from Tensky. They've got a two-man advantage. He goes into the T side of the map.
No need for it whatsoever. Like I said, even a one-man advantage from the CT side of Cobble, that's enough to justify falling back to the bottom side. Tensky, what are you playing at? What a blunder. Gives Astralis a window here. You can see Zipex now made his way towards window. Rubino smartly playing it though. Doesn't want to play passive, make the T's commit to a bomb site before they show themselves, but it's not rare to see these kind of cavalier rounds from a T side on the first gun. They know the CTs are struggling a little bit with the utility, maybe don't have the kits. Go in nice and fast and see if there's a bit stacked towards B, or even find that first kill. Like we saw Kerrigan, that's really audacious, running up towards middle, straight off the balcony of an orb. That's pretty unheard of. They've got a ton of money right now, so they can justify it in this manner.
It would have been something special. Even if he had a rifle, he could have played it a little more aggressively, perhaps, in terms of peeking the window, but flash through from Zipex Config, not foiled by that, able to dodge it due to the cranny, nook and cranny on the wall. Back to a two-man advantage. Zonic and Glaive, the two stand-ins, have to pull this off for Astralis. Trade 1-for-1 as MSL will go down and Rubino finds the immediate refrag, but now it's Zonic with bomb. Still has a chance to get toward this A site, at least get a plant for them, build up some more economy.
Oh, nice.
Missed smoke. That actually leaves the shot open, down to 46. As he gets tagged up on cross, they're going to try and deny the plant, but he's got it down. Rubino's there, dead either way. And it will be 13-6 now with a bomb plant, and as you say, knowing the economy's still tight on Dignitas' side, they can break them again right here.
Yeah, the idea was like it's the first gun round, the CTs are normally stretched in that scenario, that you don't have the incendiaries potentially, so they go for a very fast round there, hoping it's a full-on B stack. But it's Dignitas finding the first couple of kills and giving themselves that 5-on-3. Tensky made things interesting. Like I said, there's no reason at all to be pushing that case. I guess he's hoping to go for the fast flank and try and find the rest of the players, but such a high-risk maneuver. It's going to be Astralis with that bomb down, an extra $800. The money's not as strong as I would have hoped, but 2 P90s and 3 AKs. That suggests a full-on rush map. Those are the run-and-gun weapons for sure. 50 bullets of hell. If you get towards drop-down with those bad boys, things can happen. It looks like Zipex will be doing exactly that. Through the fire, of course.
2 Molotovs, thankfully not stacked on top of each other. Otherwise, that could have been even more damage, but Rubino's going to take down Zipex. Config kicks down Glaive, things falling apart very fast. 2 fast rounds for Dignitas. You said the first one, okay, you can be a little cavalier knowing the situation, but this time they just walk into a slaughter, and this is where they start to throw the economy away. And Dignitas could start to claw back some rounds, because this could go to 13-7. No money going to be left over for Device and the rest of his team unless he can pull off a miracle here.
Obviously, they haven't worked the defaults with this lineup. With Zonic coming in as well, he'll know the general idea and what they should be doing, but I think they're just trying to surprise him, finish this game nice and early. With these surprise tactics, like what is that? Rush, drop down with 2 P90s. That's not something in their strat book. That's just something they've called off the fly. Want to see if they can make things happen. They're running through the fire. I think when the Molotov got dropped, that's when you need to say, right, we'll cancel this. We'll work it out later. We'll do a flashbang, do the same thing. Zipe's going down to like 20 HP before he even got towards the window room. And Rubino, nice and defensive towards the window once again. He takes him down. 1 player drop, that's going to be Cajun B. That was the AWP, but obviously Config has salvaged that weapon. Now it's just going to be Device. Right now, the only objective is really to dent the economy further. For CT, you can see on the scoreboard right now, it's actually pretty low. They've got like Config on 300, Rubino on 600, so any kills he can get right now, he definitely can't win the round, but it'll be beneficial to them in the greater game.
Device, okay. Good reactions, takes Tensky, so at least a chance for him to escape and stay alive with this AK. That's the plan. Bomb surrounded by 3 Dignitas players.
Device showing himself to be a world-class rifler once again. He has been known to be on the AWP for the last maybe 6 months, I would say. And he's actually said quite openly, like he feels more confident on the rifles right now, gives him more freedom. And it's paying off. Like Harrigan's no slouch with the AWP, that's for sure. We saw him in the first half finding those aggressive picks. I didn't think he had it in him, but nailing almost every shot in that last round was evident. Those 4 kills towards long A with no scopes all over the place. Pretty impressive stuff, but this should be the eco from Astralis. At this point, it's quite tempting to force buy into it, Matt. You can see you've got an AK save, you have residual cash to get the Tech 9s if you wanted to. I think the partial buy at this point, they've got such a huge lead. Let's not start making things difficult for ourselves, right? Just see what you can do with the AK this time. You've got Device, that we said, world class with this weapon. Let's see if you can do anything with it.
it's going to be exactly as you say. Just keep up pistols. No armor for Kerrigan, Zippix, or Glaive, by the way. Zonic has elected to go for the head armor. Viable against the M4s. There is an AK and an AWP, rather two AKs and an AWP against them as Tensky and Rubino are holding onto the terrorist-sided rifles on the CT side. Rubino, quick rotation back over toward Tensky, try and catch out that early aggression, that early nade that was thrown out at A that potentially meant a rush coming in. They know the situation, they know the money's light, so a fast play could have been expected in this regard, but it has slowed down, and Astralis are just gonna work a pick game across the map right now, interestingly enough, but there goes the only AK. Yeah. Taken by Cajun B, it's just on the edge, and just Kerrigan, oh, he does get to it. Cajun's not scoped in time.
He should get this kill as well. Oh, actually, Cajun's very blind here. Just to break this one down as this one's building up, the idea was that Device goes towards B by himself, finds that first pick. They've got a couple of smokes. As soon as he gets that pick, they're executing towards that A-bomb. So this could get interesting, though. Kerrigan does a ton of damage towards Cajun. Maybe this still has legs to it, but he gets taken down. They'll see nothing else is there, and that kind of tactic is thwarted now. They're going to have to work out what's going on. And they would have used those smokes towards the balcony, the connector, and try to get a quick plant down. But Rubino should lock them down at this point.
Gets two. Good enough in this case, because it's now a 1 versus 4 for Zippix to try and pull back. He's got a second on MSL with the Tech 9, so he's still pushing forward, bomb down toward long, but he's got an AK to work with. Tensky doesn't really care what gun he's got because he's got positional advantage. And that'll now make it 8 rounds for Dignitas, but money comes back up this time, just barely for Astralis, to be fair. And an AWP, they could go glass cannon. Is it worth it T-side? That's the bigger question. And certainly not, according to their opinion. They've gone for utility instead.
They want to go maybe an execution-based play here. It'll be a default, work out what's going on. We can see the AWP is in the hands of Cajun B once again. I think Zonic's been dropped to Tech 9. That's what I'm assuming, judging what I saw from the money. Yeah, so he's got Tech 9. Obviously, he's not going to be the one lighting it up with the crazy aim. It's he's going to be given the bomb, and he's literally his objective right now, Matt. We'll do the execution. We'll give you the path to the bomb site. You just go in and plant it. If you die afterwards, that's fine. We'll do the work afterwards. That's a pretty interesting call. You can see how they're utilizing Zonic, one of the weaker fraggers, of course. That's how they're deciding to throw him into the bomb site, hope for the best, and we'll see how this works out for them.
And Device, again, is going to be the one to try and open it up. This time doesn't go as fast toward that B platform position. Just sits back slightly, and perhaps smartly so, because Cajun B has gotten to the stairwell with the AWP this time ahead of the terrorist attack, which means walk around that corner carelessly, you're going to have a problem. Flash goes over. That does catch Cajun. Spam through. They know he's there. He still wants to stick to the stairwell, though, but finally a smoke is going to give him a chance to go elsewhere. He'll play statue. Double drop setup as well for the CTs, and Glaive Zonic with bomb dropped off of him right now, just trying to push some aggro to get the CTs pushed back into A and potentially have some map control late in the round. It is 50 seconds. Talk about long rotations and have to commit usually around the 30-second mark, and with Kerrigan heading over to B, that might be where they head.
They have 2 smokes, a Molotov, and haven't really gathered anything. See Zonic, he hasn't got the bomb anymore. He's giving that towards Kerrigan, so Zonic is going to be the bait at this point. Like we saw from Freiburg yesterday, he'll hurt towards danger, see if he can get in rotation kills. That Tech 9, if he can just get enough attention towards that B side, he can come in through connector and potentially cause an upset here. But here comes the execution, Zipex to lead the charge towards drop down.
Glaive goes in first. Follow up, Zipex is there, potential for trade if Config's able to find Glaive first. Molotov's gonna mean he gets stuck in the corner. They know he's there, he jumps up, finds one, nearly sprays in and takes Glaive as well as he goes down to 28. But watch the time, 9 seconds. They know Cajun's inside chicken and they've sprayed him down, but Rubino can spoil this still with no smoke on the cross. Bombs dropped off Kerrigan. There's 1 second left, the round is over and they could lose money at this. Zonic stays alive, he has to, and he needs to get away, but he gets out behind the box and he drops no money again. He only had a fraction, in fact, $400 is what he gets left with.
Yeah, so Device and Zonic both dying after the time there. You can see the execution just wasn't good enough, didn't have enough to work with, couldn't find the opening kills. Dignitas not giving anything away, waiting until they actually went for the bomb plant opportunity before they were actually showing their crossfires off. But as far as did what they could, like I said, they left Zonic, towards that A site. He was hoping to have some sort of distraction there, but just couldn't hear any footsteps, didn't get any real intel there. And now this is an interesting game, Matt. This could actually lead somewhere. We thought Astralis would have run away with this one, but since the gun rounds began, Dignitas have been pretty solid. It will be a full eco, of course. The money's been completely wrecked for Astralis here. If you die after the actual round time has expired, there's no plants, of course. That means you get 0 money. You don't even get the $1,400. You get absolutely nothing. So this could be a double eco potentially for Astralis. Let's see how they decide to operate. Zipex is the one with the Tech 9. He's got a flash as well. Basically flashing towards drop down. Here it comes. Try and swarm the player, but at this point there will be no Dignitas presence there. There's no need there. You know you've broken their economy. You know how this game works. You don't need to make close rounds, close counter in situations a factor. Just Rubino to spot it, fall back, and call for his teammates.
Glaive already down on drop with Zonic just behind. Rubino's waiting on the windowsill for a chance to walk in. Big information gained. Can't land the shot, though, with the AK. Dignitas have to wait for the push, which comes now as Cajun B finds Device, but it's Rubino. Cajun again, fast shot to Zonic, just one more to find. It's Config that's gonna get Zipix over the edge of the wall. But very good anti-eco Dignitas, and they're within 3 rounds. The money is still not going to be ideal with those 2 post-round deaths on both Device and Zonic, so they'll buy into this, but they're gonna be limited again. Zonic goes to the AK rather than Tech 9 this time. He's got a little bit more cash than the previous gun round for them, but no utility still.
Yeah, the last round bonus is building up for them, so that's the only saving grace when you see Zonic. No grenades. Device, no grenades. So they're gonna be a little bit hard for actual set-piece executions here, but they have got 5 weapons available, no AWP, of course, so Cajun B will be holding strong towards that B site. Tensky once again alone towards A. It's going to be another B-side attack, but look at things. Device, like I said, the star player, he'll be trying to smoke himself into position, checking those new steps out first, see if anyone's going aggressive. And that's an interesting smoke. I guess that landed on top of a Molotov, Matt. You can see that, a little cloud.
I like it.
So that, I don't think that's not part of the game. It's a little bit of a bug, I guess, when the Molotov's there already, you fucking smoke on. Wherever the smoke touches fire, that's where it explodes. Not very realistic, but, you know.
Realism's overrated.
Yeah.
I live in a dream state all the time.
It's true. Well, they have
every day I get to cast with you is a dream. Kerrigan, flash, avoided, takes Tensky, who tries to peek on the back of that. Down to 10 HP, but a good trade kill, well, refrag, I should say, late refrag to bring it back to 4-on-4. Config, though, just spotting the head of Zipix. Remember, he was the star of the first half. He sits on 24. It's Kerrigan that's picked up the pace this time around, and Zonic trades to take Config as Glaive's lost. They're still down 1 man, and HP low on Kerrigan. They've got to act fast, and oh, this could be overlooked. No, well, there is a Molotov on Zonic, but that late in the round, they're never going to consider throwing it. No Molotov on the arch. And well-timed from MSL, it's down to 2-round lead at 13-11.
Coming to life now. 2 rounds separate it. Astralis had the 13-5 lead at one point, Matt, and you can feel how that's slipping away. And the money is not great. They were basically relying on their star players. A Device, go towards up a platform, please get us a kill. We don't have the defaults right now. Zonic doesn't really fit into this equation. We need Dupree. We need Kiabi. It's not really working out for them. They tried those fast, aggressive tactics with the P90s, the fast rushes, and that was the chance to close it out nice and early. While the CTs were weak, they didn't have much to work with. Let's just try and rush them. Had they won one of those rounds, that would have been enough just to see them through this one. But now they're going to be struggling. I think this is the tactical timeout for Astralis. We'll have a look at the money. It's about 3K for Device. I think this will be an eco at this point. They want to make sure they can get the AWP potentially, get Kerrigan back on that weapon, slow things down, go for the defaults, but it's going to be really tough now. Like we said, Dignitas, this is one of their best maps. Might not have looked like it on the first half, but they are famed for being a very strong team on Cobble. CT side, we saw it yesterday, Rubino really going to work. And we have a tweet coming in, Matt. Would you like to read this one out?
Yeah, it's a nice tweet. Usually it's Dupree that cheers everyone else up on the team, and like he said, he likes to be goofy. He has that loose character in the Valve feature. But today we have to support him. Hashtag family first. And also I just saw a tweet from Dupree not long ago that said he's comfortable watching his boys play, and his mom was flown in by ESL to make sure he's all right. So
nice.
Sitting in the hospital now post-surgery, making sure everything's okay. I assume hospital. He could be back in the hotel for all I know, but either way, he's resting and trying to recover again. Thoughts go out to him because, yeah, there you go. There's the tweet right there. So he's... That's Kerrigan's picture. That is Kerrigan's picture, not Dupree. But
it's fine. He's like the dad figure, you know.
Yeah,
so it's like, here's my dad and here's my tweet.
And now my mom's here from ESL.
Yeah,
the family's together.
It all works in a way. You just have to break it down.
But yes, I mean, first thoughts with Dupree on this, and obviously Astralis just fighting for survival in this case to keep that legendary status. Zipix gave them a hell of a chance in the first half, but so far this time, aside from a pistol round win and the 2 ensuing rounds, they haven't had much going for them on this T side.
Indeed, they're definitely going to struggle now. Now the gap is so close. And okay, I thought they were going to go for the more conservative approach. I assumed they were. They didn't have tons of cash available. We can see that's evident right now. Zonic, once again, not going to be a crazy aim up. He's just going to be a Desert Eagle, trying to hit the body shots, run through smoke, see what we can do here. Glaive has got the AK as well. It's not the best buy, but they have got the AWP and Kerrigan. Like I said, that's going to be the pivotal factor going into this one. If they can slow things down, allow him to get the pick. We know Cajun B likes to work that platform area. I assume that's what Kerrigan was trying to work his picks here. That's exactly where he will be. Cajun B, though, he'll be waiting on the bomb side this time. Not going to be giving anything away. This is the chance where Astralis will start adapting. They've taken a pause. They probably talked about, okay, Cajun's kind of wrecking us here with these first picks. Let's try and get him down. And that's what they're trying to do right now. But Cajun B, He gets the pause time as well. He knows the adaptation will be coming in, so he's not going to be doing the same thing every single round.
Rubino again's been waiting at this window with the double set on config to watch drop. 4 players on B early this time with the addition of MSL. Can Kerrigan find an opening? They desperately need one. Drop down, Xyp9x hits pallet. It's coverage enough, but the flash comes through and config's quick to get away. There's the opening. Kerrigan finally opens with the AWP through drop nonetheless.
Yeah, pretty unorthodox pick. Don't really see that happen every day, but they all count. 5-4 now.
Interesting thing is that normally Device would be on the B platform based on the previous round, so that opening might have given him a chance, but he's way over at A trying to lurk. As Tensky's on the ramp, it's Glaive to pinch on him. Kerrigan's gonna wait. He's throwing a decoy to try and bait people out, so this is interesting. The op decoy, we don't see a good pick from Glaive to try and bait them in, and then he actually does shoot. But he's lurking and waiting, and he catches Rubino. This play is working out brilliantly for Kerrigan, who comes down drop, and now he's going to get to balcony, clear that, watch for rotations. MSL and Cajun, they're locked away from this A site. They've got a buy in hand, but there's no sense chasing down, knowing the situation. Yes, any gun right now out of Astralis' hands is going to force money spent, and they're facing a reset, but at the same time, they can play the long game themselves. They need to get back into this still.
This is not Astralis saying, oh, let's run tactic X, right? This is just Kerrigan saying, like, let's give me the orb. I'm going to go try and find some picks here. Not giving him anything on the upper platform here. I'll go down towards drop down. He hits a really, really nice shot there. And great awareness. He hears Rubino rotate. We all know he plays police, that window position. His teammates are showing himself towards A. He has the audacity to jump out the window with an orb, and he gets the rotation kill as well. That's just good timing and a smart play from Kerrigan. Working in their favor, it's a pretty clean round as well, keeping 4 players alive. Device does drop, occasionally being MSL, saving their weapons at this point, but Astralis get 1 step closer and increase the lead here. MSL finds Glaive, but at this point, I think Astralis is happy to win the round. Device didn't really have to do too much either. He was the lurk player, like he said, towards A, and he was able to pincer in the CTs. 14-11, money's still fine for Dignitas, but if they were to lose this round map, if they were and it went to 15-11, they would be broken. And that could be GG. You can see our 2 players that could buy into it. It'd be Cajun and MSL, the players that saved their weapons. So
I just have to point something out that...
Go on.
Oh, you can't see it. There it is, the symmetrical gun alignment on the overlay. Everyone loves that.
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah.
Just one of those things.
An insight to your special mind.
Yep, it is quite special. I always wished I was synesthetic, but I'm not. So quick flashes over top and a smoke as well, potentially trying to foil the plans of Dignitas' defense, force them back a little. Cajun B can't go to the stairwell comfortably, but he's been playing the statue quite well with the AWP, no less. See if that reaps rewards late in the round. MSL, meanwhile, danger with Tensky, have to flash themselves out. There's no real escape plan. They line up, and Glaive's going to take both. Well done to him. Quick swap to the other A1S that's down on the ground, and they'll start to approach this A site. Flashes, no smoke. That leaves Rubino to walk back in. He's able to get 1. But Sonic getting him with an aid, leaves just Config and Cajun. And Config, though, on the site, flash in. He's going to try and just sit comfortably, not crouching behind the wall, which means Device, if he can find his first kill, can wrap onto him. Good pick. It's just him to try and do something heroic. 1 versus 4. Quick plant, Xyp9x not gonna check it. Oh, the giant trigger discipline in the lineup. He's got 2. He's given himself a chance. And there's low HP on Kerrigan with AWP. They have to get back to this bomb. They've got 45 seconds to do it. And it's Config that's gonna make the move first. He gets off the platform. He could totally surprise them all. As he pops back out, it's Device to go down. Config, this is a huge, huge round because this was potentially in a 1 versus 4 map point for Astralis. And as mentioned, Kerrigan is low on HP. He's trying desperately to find the op pick. Still behind the wall at top middle. He's gotten a little bit closer to the van. But Config's watching the angle and he's done it. 1 versus 4.
Well, that could be one of the most important clutches of this tournament so far. What a play that was from Config. You have to say, though, Astralis getting a bit ahead of themselves there. They thought the round was over. It's 4 versus 1, boys. There's no chance we're going to lose this. Run on the side with the bomb. We haven't checked the back at all. It's very clever stuff from Config, but that's very avoidable at the same time. No one's whipped the bomber at that point. You can see that's the godlike play at that point. He doesn't go for the bomber. That's a key thing in CS, right? If you ever have that opportunity, the guy planting the bomb, he can't kill you. He can't do anything about it. You always kill the guy who's going to be defending him. Then you go for the bomber. He has to react, and if you can do it like that, that's so, so well played from Config. A 4 versus 1. If everyone's around to tilt Astralis, this could be it. Running in towards drop down with the sawn-off shotgun, that's not really a thing, but...
And the buy on this with a reset.
Yeah.
They buy into this on a reset. This is huge. They're not going to have guns hardly in the next round. They're only going to get 1,900. They're on 3 digits at best right now, 150 at best in residual cash left on Glaive. So this is... I mean, this is 14-14 potentially if this round goes the way of Dignitas, and they've got the one-man advantage with Kerrigan down early. Flash, MSL can't find it, but Tensky's there to follow it up, and now his vision restored. Tries to find Device, but that doesn't go his way. However, the rotations do definitely favor Dignitas as they've committed to this A site, and Config pushing through B tunnels. That gives them no option to go backwards, to hit the reverse button and try and find B instead. It's Device that's going to try and open it. Goes in first. Shots give away his position that he's closer, but which angle does he approach? He can't look at Tensky. He's got to look at Rubino, and instead he peeks out, drops him, and Tensky on Zonic. It's Zipix 1 versus 4. His turn to try and imitate Config to do the same in reverse, but position this time not as strong, and there's Config himself, the flank.
Unfortunately for Astralis right now, they've already used a tactical pause, and those are the kind of rounds that tilt you into oblivion. They've got no money now. That was it. That was pretty much the game tied up. Had they won that round, as we described before, Dignitas would have been really stretched for cash. They'd have overtime guaranteed. It's the first fight they didn't expect to win. It's that kind of round that loses you games. Astralis, don't want to say it, but they are famed for choking in certain situations where they have to win on a plate. That was a misplay. It was so avoidable. All they had to do is to check the site map. They didn't check the site. It's a very common setup. Obviously, it's very easy to say that with 20/20 hindsight, I agree. But it's a pretty common procedure. Just check the site before you plant. There was so much time available. They weren't up against the ropes in that manner. There was 40 seconds on the clock when that happened. And that could potentially lose them the game now. It's given Dignitas a resurgence, some revitalization. And one more round to draw things up. Kerrigan doing what he can with the Glock, but this is going to be almost guaranteed 14-14 now.
MSL sticking to the MP9, knowing the situation against pistols. Cajun B here to support with the AWP. Very good chance, as you said, by Kerrigan to get Rubino down to 9 HP. Flash in, MSL gets more damage, can't overextend slightly, but does drop bomb eventually. Device gets him, but Zipix takes down Zonic. So unfortunately a kill going the wrong way, and Zipix, again, that actually drops him from 24 down to 23. I'm still gonna say he's got 24 kills in this game, obviously, but it just goes to show you how quiet he's been, considering how great he was in the first half on the CT side. Instead, again, Kerrigan the one to step up tremendously.
So the next round they're gonna get what? They're gonna get $2,400. What do they got right now? So they're going to be, it's not going to be the best fight. They have enough for AK-47s and not all the utility. I think someone can get an AWP and the Device who wants to, and that's been great. That's what kept in these gun rounds, is Kerrigan was working those picks, but they're not going to have the kind of luxuries. If they want to get an AWP, they won't have head armor. Makes you a lot weaker against those M4s. Currently 4-on-2, they're trying to do what they can. It's going to be an MP9 in the hands of Zipex and no grenades whatsoever, and they're going to be flanked coming in from Config. A little bit too much, quite aggressive, but he does find the kill, so that's fine. Device remains PD-50 in hand. No real reason to hunt him here. Let's hold on, potentially make him lose all his cash, but there it is. Config does find it. 14-14, Matt. Not like this.
I mean, that round,
that was the one.
It's engraved in my mind, and unfortunately for Zipix, had such a good first half.
But someone like
doesn't
him,
check.
Such a veteran of the game. You got to be more composed in the situation. I think they were probably caught up in the cheering. They're probably celebrating a little bit too early. You got to check those bomb sites. We saw it so many times this year. Ninja defuses and horrible blunders. And you can see right now that the hype has definitely died in that team.
And that's a known spot. They're in barrels. Especially in a 1 versus 4. Huge.
You got the back left and you go behind the side. That's such a rookie play.
Well, it may, in fact, like you say, cost the game. This is essentially it for Astralis. The last buy. While on the other side, there's money left over. So it's not an easy task, no matter how you slice it for Astralis. Well, Glaive already trying to clear out long A, and Zonic with bomb again. He's going to be the one, like you say, clear the path for him. He's just going to wait for the information. Good opening, Kerrigan this time. They did not go, we didn't mention it, but we alluded to it previously. They did not go for the AWP so that they had execution. They've got 4 smokes still left and an opening pick.
Kerrigan's been the one doing all the work here on the gun round on the T side. This time, not even the AWP. He faces towards long A, trying to get something out of this round. Gets it through the smoke as well. Tensky going down. 5-on-4. They have smokes remaining as well. I would assume this will be the A play at this point. You can see Zipex and Device rotating over. They have that smoke potential. Balcony, connector, stick as a unit. Try and use the number advantage you have. And this is a real chance. Just MSL on the A side now. This is just to get them to overtime. That'll be enough to relieve the pressure and get them back into this one.
Glaive tries to flash himself in, but a nade comes through. That's going to put him on 42. Uses his second flash for the same effect. It's cannons this time that MSL's playing. Similar to Config, he's going to try and wait and allow them to walk into his crosshair, but they will check it this time. Nearly line it up. It's Kerrigan with one, but there's the response. Config and Rubino. It's map point Dignitas and money gone Astralis.
money definitely gone for Astralis. They get the opening pick there, and they just weren't assertive enough. I think they had to act a little bit quicker. It's 4 rounds in a row now, so lost bonus got to, what, $2,900, but still, it's going to mean 1 AK-47, maybe 2 from the looks of things. No, it's actually, yeah, 1 AK, 4 pistols. Map point for Dignitas. This is a 13-5 game with a 4-on-1 to get them to match point. This is horrible to watch, Matt. It's one of those heartbreaking games where you feel like the storyline, the romance of it all, you thought they were going to do it up against all odds, but they've fallen at the last hurdle here.
And this revitalizes the mental game of Dignitas moving into map 2, and certainly weighs heavy on Astralis' mind. So they've got to refresh from this if they can't pull this off. Playing still for overtime. It's not done just yet, remember. Zonic takes the first damage down to 74, but they're approaching fast, very fast. Smokes out, Config's got to rotate to the balcony instead. They've already forced back Rubino, in that position as Tensky drops. So this is actually reasonable for Astralis to get to the site. Glaive's got MSL. Overtime, it's looking likely, but it's Rubino to pull one back. Good refrag from Device, and it's all the Cajun B. Not to happen this time. Overtime. Fast play. I mean, unorthodox round, and they pull it off, Astralis.
I don't think they can believe it. 4 Tech 9s and an AK-47. Carrigan, once again, he gets that opening pick, and they get them. That's what they were lacking before. They get that pick. They weren't assertive enough before. They were just slowing things down, allowing the rotations to come in. They didn't give the CTs a chance. They got towards balcony. They're already beneath it. They made sure they got the pick, didn't waste any time, and they get themselves to overtime. I didn't think I was going to see that happen, but that resets everything here. Astralis will be starting on the T side here in overtime. But still, this is going to be a hell of an overtime coming up. I'm very excited. This is going to be great.
I can't wait either. I'm sure the teams want to get into it, so we'll go to a break, speed this up, and they will jump in. What a game. Welcome back. We are not done. Danish derbies are always interesting, and this one with the added storyline of Astralis' survival, a battle against the odds with 2 stand-ins, and it nearly, on this play from Config, all fell apart as he pulls off an absolutely miraculous 1v4 clutch. There's no other words for it. That play as well. I mean, you mentioned the trigger discipline to take the first threat awareness, but to then make the first move and catch off the other 2. So smart all the way through.
Yeah, what a play. That was it. That was pretty much game over to this point. Config keeps him alive. But funny enough, though, it's Astralis with similar miracles as they get 4 Tech 9s and an AK, rush towards A. Carrigan finds an opening pick, and they're taking things to overtime. That's enough to get him back into this, but the problem is their gun rounds, their defaults, they haven't been good. They've just been relying on someone who's stepping up tremendously, whether it's Carrigan, well, actually, I have to say it's only really been Carrigan, getting them opportunities to actually get to bomb sites. That's not going to work every single time. We go into this one now. It is going to be MR3 both sides. You get 10K starting money. CTs, that can be a little bit difficult if you're going for double orbs, so that's not such a huge issue on Cobble, but here we go then. We go into the first round. Orp is on Carrigan this time. We'll see where we go with our first pick. Occasion B, open things up, takes down Glaive.
Good start for them on this CT side. Again, this has been the problem for Astralis. They're going to need at least 1. That goes without saying. Obviously, you need 1 to win the map, but I mean, it's so important to get it on this T side early. Config taking device, brings it to 2-man, but good trade from Xyp9x. Remember, if you lose 2 in a row with MR3 and 10K, you can be forced to save in the 3rd overtime round. So that also is a problematic situation for Astralis if they can't find a round early on, as the AWP on Kerrigan, Xyp9x on 11 HP, and a man down. They need to find the next pick.
You can see how Dignitas are approaching that situation. Some of the players not getting head armor. If you're wondering why that's happening, no one's going to be buying SMGs in these kind of rounds. They're going to have straight up AKs. So it's not really worth buying the head armor in any scenario in this, but obviously helps against the pistols somewhat, but it's just to kind of keep the CT money strong, which can be a problem. Now Kerrigan, once again, towards that drop-down area. At a man disadvantage right now, but Rubino in his classic position. Kerrigan surely going to be knowing, but the barrel's sticking out and will be taken down. Not going to find anything this time. It will be 1-0, almost certainly, and Zonic is very low HP as well. He's the one who's got to do something here. He's the coach, the guy that doesn't play, and he's the one who's got to be opening up the A-bomb site here. Let's see what he can do.
And they're surrounded. They're walking in slowly to a pincer effect because Tensky's still out at stables. Can cut them off. Actually, smart play for Zonic to go back around to the balcony. Rubino's just dropped down. They're going to have no idea. Does Zonic consider it? Looks down. Headshot done. Thank you very much, Tensky. He's still not going to move on this. He's going to play efficiently and allow his team to rotate over. And Zonic this time, yeah, I will check the corners. Thank you very much. Bomb goes down safely from Xyp9x. They've got something to work with on this, but there it is. Tensky, he waited the whole time, and they had no idea he was there. Low HP. Xyp9x gets desperate, jumps over the wall, and he's greeted by MSL.
Yeah, nice stuff from Astralis, considering the situation, managing the bomb down and having an opportunity to win the round, but you're absolutely right. Tensky played that perfectly. Waiting for the teammates to come over. He could have faced and tried to stop the bomb going down, but that was a high risk. He wants to win the rounds here. It's not about building up the money at this point. It's about getting rounds on the board. Play for the safe bet. Make sure his teammates were there. He strikes, gets both of them as well, so that's absolutely perfect from him. Astralis struggling now after losing the first couple of kills, and you can see the money. Kerrigan, he buys another AWP. He's gone down to $1,700 already, so if they were to lose this round, they will be up against it, but number 2 comes in. Just a single off on the CT still. It's going to be 1-0 in favor of Dignitas here. I'm going to say right now, I predict them to get the 3-0. Like, their gun rounds are so much stronger. It took some miracles for Charlotte to even get some rounds on the board, but let's see how this pans out.
And that's the scary part. I mean, Dignitas, based on how the T side went for Astralis, it was 4 rounds total. 3 came off the pistol. It definitely looks favorable for them. Again, first pick, we emphasize that Astralis needs to stabilize the map. They need to push the CTs back. So far, they haven't done that at long A. And Device, he may go around this corner quickly, flash over. There's 2 toward the hay bales. Good Molotov, that should force them out, but he overextends slightly. MSL doesn't peek it. That allows Device to get the kill, but he can't spray down the second. So it is traded back, but they know he's here at long. And good rotation. MSL's going to find Device trying to wrap back. Zonic, leaving it back up, though. In fact, give them a 1-man advantage as Kerrigan has AWP just watching for rotation. Zonic's very far forward. He's the one with bomb, but he's got config as well. Eventually, he goes down to Rubino. But they still have the man advantage on this. However, that's pulled back. Good drop in from Cajun B. And they have to go on this A site. 49 seconds, bombs at stables. They've just grabbed that again now, but if they try and run back, Cajun B's looking toward it. He spotted it. He's got it again. Glaive down. And this, Kerrigan, I mean, that was a call to go to B. That's a desperate call late, considering they have no information.
Well, the bomb's down now as well. 35 seconds. He's pretty much committed to this side of the map. He has got the AWP. 1 kill will be enough, but that timing not going to work out in his favor. And after Zonic, he did so much hard work there. He gets the first 2 kills. We didn't expect that to happen, and then Dignitas rotating in. It's nice disciplined play once again, and that kill from Cajun towards long A, that was crucial. Like you said, they were going to rotate back towards B and make things a little bit more interesting, but he times it perfectly. Faces just as the rotation comes in. Bomb goes down. Kerrigan left in a horrible situation. That will be the 2-0 now. And like I said, they're going to be struggling with cash. Xyp9x on the Tech 9. Kerrigan with no grenades. No orbs available, that's for sure. Dignitas looking very strong for the 3-0 here. But saying that, map, it was the Tech 9s and AKs actually got us here. So who knows what's about to happen.
The beauty of CSGO.
Indeed.
We'll sell you the whole seat. You'll only need the edge. Games like these, how beautiful they are. Rubino going to watch bottom a drop. It's going to be a smoke out in front of Kerrigan to slow the play. And Config's gone toward the stairwell at B this time. It's Rubino to start it. Kerrigan just goes through. Not ideal situation, again, to give away that first pick and one of the AKs. So not even re-grabbable, I do believe. I'll double check it. I do believe that went down over the edge. So yeah, it did, absolutely. So no way they'll grab that back. As Device pulls Tensky, though, this will make it a little more interesting as MSL trades it. Glaive still has a smoke in front. They need to rely on Xyp9x to get up to the top of the ramp and catch him off. Glaive instead does it himself, but a good pincer effect. Good rotation from Cajun, but he's caught in the open as well. As it's Rubino and Config. 2 versus 3. Zipix still with that Tech 9, but they've allowed the flash to get him in better position, and Zonic goes bionic to take down Config. It's just Rubino, 1 versus 3, and this could be the one round Astralis need. Unless Rubino's got something to say of it. 2 kills so far, 2 more to find. Bomb ticking. He's got a kit. He's going to try and elevate himself to find the shot on Zonic. He's done it. Glaive, he can't move. He can't afford to. He knows he's at stables, and Rubino's on 2 HP, but he gets the shot toward him. The pillar is all that saves Glaive. Baits out with the tap, and Glaive, he's playing this correctly. He's going to have to go eventually, and it's going to be now that Rubino gives it up. Glaive just stays alive. Smart to escape.
What a tense situation.
Still has a kit, though. He still has time to hold this. They're still available to him. And Glaive, he's shoulder checking it 1 second. Thankfully, he hits the shot, and they will get the 1 round.
Talk about cutting it fine. 1 second in that. He comes out peeking with a knife. All you have to do is make him shoot at that point. There was less than 5 seconds on the bomb. He does win the round, but my God, was that a close one. Very smart play up until that point, but he gets away with it. But Astralis, not working the default this time and saying, well, okay, we're not finding the Pixies anymore. Let's have to go fast. Let's get towards A, see if we can get the first kill. And Zonic actually, like you said, getting 1 or 2 kills around, stepping up when they needed, and they get that 1 round on the board. That's all they needed to make this possible, but Dignitas now, they swip over to the T side. We'll see whether they can find some form. It wasn't the best in regulation time, but what a crazy round that was, Matt. Rubino doing everything he could in 1 second. Could have got the 3-0 and pretty much guaranteed this game.
That's an incredible display.
Look at it.
So
less than half a second, I think.
He played it. I mean, look, credit where credit's due. He played it perfectly up to that point, but my God, that is nerve-wracking.
It did not have to be that close. He thought he was around his eye. I think his teammates were like, why are you running away? Higgins out of V's. Higgins out of V's. And then he comes running back, and it's like less than half a second there. Like, if he planned it like that, that's amazing. If he's got a timer in his head, he's just counting 1, 2, 3, 4. But when you get about that point, you're scared that you actually may have got it a little bit wrong, especially when it's such a high-pressure situation.
And Zipix now, with the first half ending on 20 kills, has 26, 27 including the team kill that pulls him back 1. So fair there, but still 7 kills in now what has been 18 rounds. Zonic, meanwhile, 17 total. He's keeping his weight up for sure. He's in fact ahead of Tensky right now, who's 14 and 22. But overall frag distribution fairly even for both teams if you weigh them 1-to-1.
Have we had any other overtime this tournament so far? I don't think we have.
I definitely don't think so. Last time we had a lot of overtimes in Columbus, especially I think a triple overtime game with Mouse Sports in that particular affair. And for that matter, flip side, I think they were against in that one.
I don't think we've had any overtime yet, from my recollection, at least the games I've seen.
Yeah,
we haven't.
We've definitely not. I mean, confirmed.
So, Matt, this is the first best of 3 and of the day, and it's been pretty exciting, I have to say. The fact that we've got these storylines coming into it, Dupree missing one of the star players, it's actually kind of nuts it's worked out like this. It's very exciting indeed, and we do go to the second half. We'll be 2-1 and started switching over. They were very strong on CT. They actually looked great. It was where Zipex really came to life. He was doing all the work with the M4A4, finding shots all over the place. It was Dignitas that looked a little bit lost on that one. They won that second round force buy, but didn't really find much else after that.
In case you've forgotten, because I almost had, thankfully I've had a whisper in my ear because this one's so long I couldn't remember what's next. It's Mirage that we moved to, which is, yeah.
Well, this is Dignitas' pick, believe it or not. We thought this was a clean-cut affair. They'd be taking this map. I predicted like 12 rounds on the first half. I thought, well, they've got going now. That'll be it. There's no chance Astralis can hold them off. They actually won the first half. What, like 10-5, was it? Like, it was
10-5, yep. 100% 10-5. It was 4-1 at a point for Dignitas as well, so really well-executed half. And to be fair, that all goes up to Zipix. You know, I've kind of harped on him for a slow second half of this game, but the first half, he was incredible.
Well, then, we do get into it. It will be Dignitas now on the T side. They have got the Orping Cajun beat. Carrying, of course, Orping himself, very aggressive on the regulation time. Once again, he's towards long A. He was very successful getting his first picks, but the problem is they're aware of his kind of play now. He was doing fantastic work towards his danger position as well. He's got backup in the form of Glaive towards the top of middle, so he's just spotting for information right now, seeing if he can, there you go. So he's spotting that gap. Then he crosses over. He can tell Carrigan, okay, he needs to be careful of danger. That could actually be a possibility right now. Boost up towards the B side. It's actually Zonic in the tree position. Can be very good for those wall of smoke executions when they come in. Obviously, Molotov will be dropping on you sometimes, but if you can negate that, can do a lot of work. As we are getting into that. This is what Dignitas were paying for. We didn't see enough of this. on their actual default and regulation. They've just forgot everything that they're so good at, of working this mid-control, getting towards long A, taking vision away from CTs. This is what they're amazing at. And just keeping the CTs second-guessing as to what's going on. You can see CTs have nothing going on right now. They have to fall back. They can't really hold any close positions. They didn't do any of this. They kind of forgot how they play the game in regulation, but I think they've had time to discuss it now and calm down. They've done the hard work now after that amazing work from Config. But here we go, 45 seconds. They still have 2 smokes and 3 smokes and Molotovs. They can fully execute if they wanted to.
Aggressive.
Okay.
Glaive tries to flash himself back in, and that gives it away.
That's silly. There's no need for that whatsoever. That's such a YOLO play. Like I said, the tracers and the noise, he's going to find him.
And now Kerrigan's left on his own. There's no support system. He can't come back to save him. That's all Glaive's job to try and bail Kerrigan out at that point in time. Xyp9x is caught in the open. Tensky with that kill. It's going to be the round to Dignitas on T side, potentially here. That should pretty much secure it as Zonic goes down to Config. And that's the one round Dignitas need to equalize Astralis' total.
Glaive playing like a bit of a donut there, Matt. I have to say that there was no need for that. He's got smoke down. He's got the M4A4. Yeah, the silence M4 is a little bit more justifiable, but running through like that, like you said, he did it in the drop-down position as well. You get boosted up, you can see your shots through that smoke, and then he gets completely wrecked, and then they can capitalize at that point. Kerrigan, like you said, stuck in a horrible position once he made that misplay.
And it's now going to be map point, the first map for Dignitas. If they can pull this last round in their favor, it's going to be a tall order, considering how well the CT side went for Astralis before. But again, I harp on Xyp9x only because of the precedence he set. He carried them tremendously in that. We're going to have to see another individual contribution in that respect. It's Kerrigan again that's going to play alone on the A site. It's a 4-man stack on to B, but as you mentioned, Dignitas have adapted since that first half, and they're slowing it down, playing a more 3-man default to wait for these pushes.
Yeah, they're ready for it this time, and it's going to be more of the same, I think. They're going to be doing the default coming into us, Tensky towards long A, but Kerrigan with the AWP, went for the aggressive pick at the start, but doesn't get anything for it, so we'll be falling back, but presumably this will be the smoke towards middle, smoke towards long A, that takes him out of the round. They have to fall back to the bomb side, pretty much exactly what we saw in the previous, and this is what I like to see. This is why I think they're such a good Cobble team, because they have such a great understanding of how to dissect this map and remove the CTs from certain equations. There's the smokes, there's the flashes, and now you can see the reactions. CTs have to go back to the bomb side. That takes Intel away. Like I said, Cobble's one of those maps you can't really get much for it once you have lost this part of the map. It's not like you can push up a B or boost up the drop down. That's another high-risk maneuver, and they have got players watching that horde. Normally Rubino on the other side of the map. But this is the point they can decide now. Once again, a couple of smokes remaining, Molotovs. They can execute towards A if they wanted to, or they can rotate all the way back onto towards B and have similar effect with Rubino set up towards drop down already.
Precious times. Desperate times for Astralis. Kerrigan waiting, shot, successful. Opening pick in their favor, he takes down Cajun B. As he continues to play top ramp with the AWP this time, he's going to be smoked out, has to rotate it around, but with Xyp9x already on the balcony, he's actually going to watch this lurk position instead. This is actually a smart team call, because Rubino's waiting to try and pop out and take down the rotations. Xyp9x gets behind the APC. They have a chance to catch them off, and there it is. Rubino dropped. Kerrigan knows he's the only one in that position. It's typical. They do find the player Config, good entrance, Zonic that was playing at Cannons to try and catch them, and the smoke and flames, it's Kerrigan in the open through the gap. Config, it's Glaive, and Dignitas, they may just pull their map back, as Device has to clutch this 1 versus 3. First shot on Config successful, but Tensky down the ramp, he's gonna hit the headshot, and they'll get away with it. A relief, as map 1 does go to Dignitas.
It was touch and go at one point, 13-5 in favor of Astralis. They had to grind it out round by round, but Dignitas, with a little bit of luck and some huge play from Config, they take it towards overtime, and they stepped up there. Astralis did struggle tremendously in the gun rounds, and that was evident there. What a first game that was, and we do move on to Mirage after this, but I'm not sure whether Astralis have anything left after that.
That's the hard part. You come so close against all odds, against Dignitas on their map choice, and now you've got to recover after a long game and pull this series back. We're going to go to the experts, see what they think of this all. There's so much to talk about, so many storylines in that first game.
Thanks very much, you guys. Yeah, there is just so much to talk about. You were talking about Xyp9x. That was a port of call for us, most definitely, especially towards that first half. I have myself, Yanko, Thorin, and Moses to talk about this one. Gentlemen, so close yet so far. That overtime took us by surprise. We'll start with you, Jason. Closer than we anticipated. Let's just remind you, everyone on the desk thought that was going to be a Dignitas walk in the park. It was not so.
And then after the first half, it looked like it was going to be Astralis. That was a really good CT side, but you could see where the real struggles came in with these two stand-ins is when they have to start running tactics, is when they have to actually do something tactically on the map, and they don't have that experience together, they don't have the plan. I mentioned it was going to be a little bit more puggy, and it was even more so than I thought. I mean, there were just times flat-out B rushes, Kerrigan rushing down with a shotgun. And I think Henry actually nailed it during the cast. I mean, he said right at the start, into that first gun round of the second half, Astralis was just basically, we saw, I think it was Zipnik's run right through the Molotov and just try and get down drop with a P90, and it's like you're trying to end the game because you know you don't have any actual substance to your T side. So it's like just catch them by surprise, win that first round, break the economy, and then you have a much easier path. And it didn't work, and when it came to grinding the rounds out, it was Dignitas who had the plan.
Astralis T side, Yenko, was that just where it all kind of came tumbling down? They managed to find success on defense.
I mean, definitely, you need to take into account this is the best map for Team Dignitas and probably the worst map for Astralis, even without stand-ins. So it was obvious, even though they were having a great run in the first half, that it was still going to be a tough task for them once they switched sides. And they fell into that trap of, you know, sending Device towards the B platform, trying to, you know, put him in a position where he can create an opening. But Dignitas expected that. They always needed it. He was always left with half HP coming out of that B platform. And in the end, I thought that Astralis had it with that round where Glaive got the double entry kill, turning from the flash towards the mid area, but that was the round where Config played just an amazing round, extremely intelligent play, winning a 1v4, and I think that was what broke Astralis in the end.
Yeah, you do not see a 1v4 clutch in a situation like that, and from someone who it's his first major as well, Duncan, big stuff from him, and you wanted to see the equivalent from Device, did we?
Not really. I mean, he didn't have a terrible game, but unfortunately, they needed a huge game out of this guy. Like, Zipnik's gave them enough on CT side. That's really well on the T side. We needed some, like, crazy one-bullet headshots, opening the sights up, coming in. He's usually coming in, except on the B site, as, like, second or third guy. And he just basically had an okay number of kills. I actually think in this game, I always say to people, whenever you're watching a game of Counter-Strike and someone's on terrorist side, depending on the map, until they get to 14 rounds, don't ever think that they've won the game. Because, especially on these maps, if it's Cobblestone or Train, if you don't actually have a good T-set, these are the hardest maps in the world to improvise and to grind out rounds on, because it's so difficult. There's a reason why those maps, the specialists win the T rounds for fun. The people who aren't that good on it, they have to really get crazy, crazy halves on CT side. So you saw on this particular one, most good teams on Cobblestone attack the B site over and over again. Now, Astralis tried that early on, had no luck whatsoever, and literally were just trying to go A every single time. And they could get onto the site there, but they couldn't hold it. The rotations came in, and also they had very few ever post-plant situations that looked good for them on that T side.
Was Zonic the downfall of Astralis, Yenko? He seemed to pull his weight in the same way Glaive did.
I agree. I don't think he was the reason why they lost the game. You could see it time and time again. He was the one dropping guns for his teammates, playing with pistols. In that eco run, Astralis won in the first half. He got a double kill as well. I think he did his part. Interestingly enough, in the 1v4 conflict,
he had 43 ADR.
What can you expect from him? Do you expect him to carry the game?
We're not saying that. We're just saying he's clearly like one of the weak points of the game.
I think Tensky had like 50 and something ADR. Does that make him?
I think he's a terrible player. Yeah.
I don't think Zonic was the issue. It's not having Dupree that's the issue. I mean, you really can't expect anything out of Zonic, and it's not that. I don't think he cost them this game in so much as the fact that he's just, you know, what do you expect? What's going to happen? This is a professional level game. You can't just bring in a guy like Zonic who hasn't played a competitive game. So, I mean, you can't blame it on him, but that absence of Dupree, I actually thought Kerrigan did a great job of filling in the gaps that they were going to need without KRB, without guys like Dupree. Dupree's like the entry fragger for this team, and Kerrigan stepped up in a big way on that T side. I thought Zipnik's had a great first half, fell off a little bit on the T side. I think he only got like 5 kills in the second half, but it was Kerrigan who you saw getting those opening kills.
And interestingly enough, it was in that 1v4, Zipnik was the bomb planter, and he did not clear the site. Granted, it was a bit unexpected that the 5th player would be there as well, but the trade of frags happened really early in the round, so it gave time for Dignitas' players to come in force. So, you know, great performance in the first half, but in that crucial round, kind of
one small mistake.
And it ended up costing them.
The area where I think having Zonic did cost them was you saw a number of situations where some of the guys from Astralis were in numbers advantage situations, and they didn't play as though they had a guy who isn't a proper pro player. They played as though I can take this aggressive peek here, because if I get it, I win the round, and if I don't, I've got like 3 guys behind. You don't always have that luxury in this particular scenario. So that's why I think maybe if they'd have been able to have the routine of it, they'd have played that differently. But in the moment, they've had to bring this guy in today, so I can understand why they couldn't do that, though.
Still questionable from Dignitas. I mean, the fact that did go into overtime, Astralis pushing them all the way on a map that we here at the desk thought was going to be a walk in the park for them. Now we move into Mirage. We'll be talking about that after our break. It's going to be intriguing to see if Astralis have anything left in the tank after having to work so damn hard to take it into OT. Of course, does just slip through their fingers. Config, a big part in that. We're taking a break, guys. When we come back, map 2 is Mirage. We'll be bringing it to you and all of the gossip here at the desk in just a moment.